Chapter 841. Outside Mount Royal Sea, Zhang Tao's laughter shook heaven and earth. Fate King, Thousand Goblin King, since you are here, why don't you show yourselves? In the void, outside the black crack, Fate King's figure suddenly appeared. In the blink of an eye, another old figure appeared. The Lord of the 10,000 Demon Royal Court had arrived. He could not tell what his true form was like. He was just an ordinary old man, the Demon Lord of the 10,000 Demon Royal Court, ranked 5th on the absolute combat power ranking, after King Tianming and before King Qian. As soon as the old man appeared, the Life Kings, who weren't far away, looked at him with a solemn expression. Thousand Goblin King, Demon Lord. The monster race had 2 monster lords, the Guardian of the King's Court and the 10,000 Monster King's Court. The Master of the 10,000 Demon Royal Court, known as the 10,000 Demon King, ranked 5th. Lord of the Guardian Imperial Court, Heavenly Demon King, ranked 7th. At this moment, the Heavenly Goblin King had yet to arrive, but the 1,000 Goblin King had arrived. As soon as the old man appeared, he looked at Zhang Tao with a profound look in his eyes and said indifferently, "Humans shouldn't have destroyed the Forbidden Land." The Life King had only just touched the million-cow vitality boundary. Strictly speaking, he might not have reached the level of a titled true god. But it was a titled true god that had already been nailed to the ground. The old man's voice was indifferent, but it made King Feng and the others overjoyed. Humanity was finished. The 10,000 Demon Imperial Court, the Lord of 10,000 Demons, who had once fought against Tianji and Tianming, was unbelievably powerful. Today, the resurrected warriors of the 7 southern regions had destroyed the Forbidden Land and actually lured this person out. Zhang Tao laughed calmly and insolently. So what? So what? Zhang Tao burst into laughter. The crystal book in his hand suddenly emitted a dazzling light. Dozens of words appeared in the book. Kill, destroy, attack. One by one, the words that had been condensed by the other Apex experts appeared. At this moment, the words carried with them a shocking killing intent. Thousand Goblin King, if you dare to interfere, I will exterminate your goblin clan. Zhang Tao laughed out loud. His voice was vast and boundless, causing the void within 10,000 li to tremble. Try interfering. The old man's expression was cold as he said indifferently, "Martial King, could it be that you think you can fight this king? You talk too much." Zhang Tao suddenly broke through space and charged out. Li Jun cursed, "You mother of Asterisk-Cur." Cursing, he stopped. This bastard. Crazy. He wanted to kill Zhang Tao. This bastard, right now. There were already 17 true monarchs here. 2 of them had been killed, but there were still 15 left. The strongest Zhang Tao had run away. He ran crazily to fight Thousand Goblin King. Li Jun was going crazy. The fact that the 1,000 Goblin King did not participate in the battle meant that he was still hesitating. He might not want to interfere. If Elder Zhang talked nicely with his ability to fool others, the 1,000 Goblin King would probably leave. But now, bastard, right now, Li Jun was facing off against King Feng and King 100 Mountains on his own. Even though he had taken out his second great Dao, he was still being beaten to the point where his golden body was trembling and the void was exploding. The others were even worse off. The War King was now being besieged by 3 true monarchs, and he was being beaten back again and again. As for Zhang Tao's opponents, King Hua, King Song, and the others, they were all rushing towards them. No one was chasing after Zhang Tao. Since that guy is crazy enough to challenge the 1,000 Goblin King, let him be. Not far away, the 1,000 Goblin King was also stunned. King Wu really came. Old worm, you dared to participate in the battle in the demon race Forbidden Land, and after the battle, you still dare to question us. Today, I will kill you to scare the demons." At this moment, Zhang Tao's body suddenly expanded countless times, and he was almost 10,000 meters tall. The bamboo branch expanded, and with one attack, it broke through the void, destroying everything, and headed towards the 1,000 Goblin King. Not far away, just as the Life King was about to attack, a shadow appeared. Why bother? An old voice came, and no one knew whether it was the Life King or Zhang Tao, heaven-suppressing king. The Life King's expression was solemn, and he said coldly, "You are the land of rebirth. Do you really want to die now?" Sigh. A sigh was heard. The heaven-suppressing king did not speak, nor did he attack. However, the Life King also did not move and did not attack. At the side, Zhang Tao had already attacked, and the sky changed color. The 1,000 Goblin King looked extremely old, as if he could be blown away by the wind, but now his arms suddenly turned into giant claws, and with a roar, he clawed the void in front of him. Boom! The giant claws and the bamboo branch collided, and the overflowing energy shook Imperial Sea Mountain. A few hundred miles away, a giant city was swept by the energy, and in the blink of an eye, the entire city was destroyed. This was a capital city. Although it was not comparable to a king city, it was still a big city with millions of people. At this moment, a few hundred miles away, the city was still there, but all lives were gone. No matter what grade they were all dead. Not bad. The 1,000 Goblin King laughed coldly. Not bad indeed. The strength of the martial king was shocking. He was probably at the level of the Life King, but he was still lacking if he wanted to fight with the 1,000 Goblin King. The 1,000 Goblin King did not return to his original form, but his arms turned into claws and tore through space. He suddenly appeared in front of Zhang Tao and instantly slashed towards Zhang Tao's head. Zhang Tao laughed coldly, and the book in his hand turned into a giant wall, and the bamboo branch suddenly flew towards the Life King, courting death. The Life King was stunned, but he was also furious. The martial king actually wanted to fight 1 against 2. He and the 1,000 Goblin King were 2 of the 4 strongest true kings in God Continent. At this moment, the Life King could not be bothered with the heaven-suppressing king anymore. The martial king was provoking him, and if he did not attack, how could he face others in the future? Rumble! In the blink of an eye, the 3 experts tore through space, entered it, and started fighting. At this moment, Zhang Tao was no match for the 2. The book cracked, but he laughed loudly. Fight! Fight to your heart's content. Even if I die today, I will let you know that humans are never afraid of battle. Kill! Zhang Tao's roar shook the sky, and in the blink of an eye, several figures appeared in the distance. A few elders flew over, and one of them laughed loudly. Let's fight! The martial king is indeed the pride of the human race. He deserves the title of the martial king. Fight! Fight! The top experts instantly entered the black space where the war king and the rest were, and in the blink of an eye, they fought with all their might. In the void, many giant figures floated in the air. The experts were too strong, and their power was projected, turning into human forms. Outside the 2 spaces, the heaven-suppressing king still did not move. He looked at the direction where Zhang Tao was, and suddenly sighed. Want to break the situation? But some things should not be broken at this moment. Ancestor. In another space, Li Zhen was fighting a bloody battle. His eyes were filled with anger, and he shouted, Ancestor, why are you watching? Since we are fighting today, so what if we turn the world upside down? The heaven-suppressing king seemed a little helpless, and he sighed again. He grabbed the void with one hand, and in the next moment, the myriad demon king suddenly appeared in front of him. Myriad demon, why bother with the juniors? The human and the demon were less than 100 meters apart. The heaven-suppressing king said softly, "Go back. Humans do not want to fight with the demon race. It's just two forbidden lands. So be it." The myriad demon king's expression was ugly, and he said coldly, "The demon race is not afraid of battle. The heaven-suppressing king can suppress the human race, but not the demon race." The heaven-suppressing king chuckled. "Why do you have to do this? I have waited for 1,000 years. Can I wait for a few years? You must force me to fight." At this moment, the heaven-suppressing king suddenly stood up straight, and his face was no longer illusory. An extremely ordinary middle-aged face appeared, and his eyes were deep. He said softly, "If you want to fight, then I will accompany you to exercise." The myriad demon king sneered, and he did not say a word. In the blink of an eye, the human and the demon disappeared. A black crack suddenly appeared, and suddenly disappeared. The human and the demon directly sealed the space, and entered another space to fight. Not far away, Zhang Tao glanced over, and his face revealed a playful expression. He suddenly looked at Fake King and smiled meaningfully. In the next moment, Zhang Tao suddenly shook off Fake King toward the space and appeared next to the Su family's elder ancestor. Fate King also appeared here in an instant, and his palm hit Li Jun. 7 southern regions. The battle was huge. The cat did not speak at this moment, but Fong Ping was impatient. What was going on? At his feet, the Jiao's big eyes opened a slit, and its nose was a little itchy. The big cat's tail was sweeping its nose, and it felt so uncomfortable. It really wanted to bite off this annoying demon's tail, but it did not dare. Just when the Jiao and Fong Ping were impatient, the cat suddenly said, "We can't win. Who can't win? Who?" Fong Ping immediately said, "Humans can't win them." Yes, the cat wanted to eat skewers, but found that they were all gone. It glanced at the hamster, a little annoyed, and continued, "There are so many, 1, 3, the cat counted and shook its head, saying, "There are almost 30. You guys only have 7 or 8. You can't win." Although the top human powerhouses were all here, the catacombs had more and more true kings. If this continued, even if the fake human emperor was very powerful, he would still lose. Fong Ping was talking to the cat when Zhang Weiyu and the others suddenly walked over. Chun Yaozu's face was pale, and his face was full of anxiety and helplessness. They were going to lose. Fong Ping did not notice, but they did. Thousands of miles away, Fong Ping might not recognize the shadows that pierced through the sky, but he did. The elder ancestor's shadows trembled, showing signs of being defeated. Senior Cat. Chun Yaozu and the others had actually seen the cat before, but they did not dare to come over. At this moment, they could not bear it anymore. Chun Yaozu bowed deeply and said in a sorrowful tone, "We are useless, we can't break through. Now the humans are defeated. Please help us, Senior. Please help us, Senior." Zhang Weiyu and the others looked worried too. Most of Sino Nation's top powerhouses had joined the battle. If they were defeated, the top powerhouses would die in battle. Then it would be useless no matter how many rank 9s they killed. The cat was very innocent, blinking its big eyes, and said, "I'm just a cat. Cats don't fight. It was just a cat. It didn't fight." Why did it have to beg this cat? Everyone was deeply helpless. Cats did not fight. A desperate cat was now telling them that it did not fight. It was just watching the show. What else could they do? As they were talking, at this moment, suddenly, an earth-shaking figure was struck out of the void, crashing into Imperial Sea Mountain. Rumble! Even from 2,000 miles away, everyone could hear the deafening roar. This loud noise was too loud. "King Marshal!" A shrill, angry roar rang out. King Huai, who was struck out again, was burning with rage. Humiliation. Absolute humiliation. He was beaten like a dead dog by King Marshal. A bamboo branch was whipped out, and his golden body exploded, crashing into Imperial Sea Mountain. In extreme anger, King Huai wanted to enter again. However, there was still some fear in his heart. In the next moment, he suddenly thought of something and suddenly looked at the 7 southern regions behind him. King Marshall had drawn himself out. Then could he not enter the 7 southern regions now? King Huai's eyes were cold and fierce. Just as he was about to step in, his face suddenly stiffened, and then he suddenly rushed into the battle, instantly fighting with King Song's opponent, the Zheng family's old ancestor. He said furiously, "After I kill you, I will enter the 7 southern regions and kill all of you resurrected bugs." As soon as these words came out, it seemed to remind everyone. King Song, whose opponent was snatched by him, suddenly thought of someone. Fong Ping, the Fong Ping who ruined his plans in the 9 southern regions. Did he come here today to fight the true king resurrected? No, he came here to kill Fong Ping. But now he was actually fighting the true king resurrected. Although he already had the upper hand, he did not come here to kill the true king. Moreover, this place was dangerous. The true king resurrected was not afraid of death. Now that 2 true kings had fallen, he was not considered strong, and he could not follow in their footsteps. He glanced at King Huai out of the corner of his eye. Idiot! This idiot actually ran back after being knocked out of the battle twice. It was best if he died here. King Song's eyes were cold as he turned his head to look at Imperial Sea Mountain. The next moment, he suddenly flew out of the Black Fissure, flying toward Imperial Sea Mountain. "How dare you!" At this time, Zhang Tao roared, the bamboo branch in his hand breaking through the air. At the same time, his mentality covered thousands of miles, and he quickly said, "Everyone, retreat from the catacombs. Take the Jiao with you. King Song has entered the region." Old Zhang was also surprised. "King Huai, this guy? Was he pretending to be stupid? I sent you flying and told you to kill the Jiao, but you didn't go. You actually ran back, joined the battle, and lured King Song over. More importantly, he did not know if the cat would attack." At this moment, he really wanted Fong Ping and the others to retreat quickly. Danger! At this critical moment, he might not be able to return in time. At this point in the battle, there were more and more catacombs true kings, and he was already somewhat powerless. If not for Life King, this guy who had some ideas, and the other true kings also saw that the battle situation was stable and did not want to fight to the death, humans might have already been defeated. Zhang Tao struck with the bamboo branch, but King Song quickly rushed past Imperial Sea Mountain. He did not care about the bamboo branch behind him at all. He would think about it after entering 7 southern territory. Perhaps he could also take this opportunity to go to the land of rebirth. The true kings have entered the region. Fong Ping's expression changed dramatically. The others also gathered quickly. Zhang Weiyu shouted, "Retreat! Retreat quickly! Minister South is still outside. Everyone retreat." Everyone began to flee in the opposite direction. The Jiao wanted to get up, wanted to run. It was afraid of death. It was in the same group as Chef now. It wanted to run too, but it had a big cat head on it. It did not dare to run. Roar, roar. The Jiao growled a few times. "I want to go. I want to go. The true kings have entered." The big eyes of the cat showed a hint of conflict, dissatisfaction, unwillingness, displeasure. He was enjoying the show. "The true gods have entered. What are they doing? You haven't given me the cat food. The cat felt wronged too. I've stabbed 12 fake gods to death, 70 bags of cat food, and you haven't given me a single bag. Now that these people have left, that fake human emperor is probably going to run too. There's no one here, and you still want to give me cat food? I can't go out. I have to go back to the grotto heaven. Go back to the grotto heaven?" At this moment, the cat felt like it had been struck by lightning. Its tail bristled. Back to the grotto heaven? The cat was stunned. I said I forgot something. I'm done for. Gong Juanzi must be closed. I have no home to go back to. Stray cat. At this moment, the cat's big eyes showed confusion. What to do? If I can't go back to the grotto heaven, where can I go? Stay here? But if I stay here, then, if the true gods enter, and know I'm here, what if they find trouble with me? Meow. The ash cat suddenly cried out in a low voice. This cat had forgotten something important. Damn it. I can't go back. It's all this big dog's fault. The cat suddenly vented its anger on the Jiao. The cat's tail slapped the Jiao like it was struck by lightning, making it dizzy. I won't run. Stop hitting. Big dog, are you going to the human world? The cat suddenly asked. The Jiao did not know if it was asking it, but the chances were high. The Jiao barked hurriedly. You're gone. The cat was sad. The big dog was gone. Was he going to be a stray here alone? He should at least bring the big dog along. He would have a place to sleep if he brought the big dog along, but the big dog's golden armor was too disgusting, not as comfortable as the Tengu's. The cat was still thinking, but Fong Ping could not care less about the Jiao. Run. The true king had entered. If he did not run, something big would happen. He wanted to run, but the cat hooked him with its tail, saying unhappily, You haven't given me the cat food. Fong Ping was about to cry. You're not going to help. You're asking me to run. What cat food? How would I know what's going on? Brother cat, the true king is here. You haven't given me the cat food. If you leave, what if the fake human emperor runs away? It stared at Fong Ping. This guy seemed to be the leader. It could see that the others seemed to listen to him. He had a clone of the fake human emperor with him before. He must be in cahoots with the fake human emperor. He could not leave. If he left, the cat food might be gone. Master Cat. Fong Ping was about to cry. King Song was here. He had ruined King Song's plan in Tiannan's catacombs. Although the god general under him had fought to the death with the Yang family, everyone else was dead except for him. Who else could he look for but him? This was his biggest enemy. If he came in, he would be the first to be killed. In a moment of desperation, Fong Ping suddenly said, Master Cat, I'm not leaving. How about you kill him? Cat food, right? You can have as much as you want. Kill him. I'll give it to you. No, old John, no, I'll give you the emperor. He controls the entire human world. He has everything, countless treasures, anything you want. Having said that, he asked hurriedly, Is Master Cat a match for the true king? He did not know how strong the cat was. If he really did not know how to fight, he could only wait for death. He might as well run now and find Nen Yunyue to protect him. The cat felt like its fur was about to explode. Not a match for a true god. The true god who came in was very weak, okay? The cat's large tail slapped Fong Ping until he was dizzy. Don't go crazy. This cat. I can't even withstand the aftermath of the battle. Even if I'm a match for King Song, let me go first. Fong Ping could not leave. At this moment, many people had gathered around him. Some of them had fled for a while, but seeing that Fong Ping did not follow, they turned back. Iron Head landed quickly, looking at Fong Ping with an anxious expression. Old man, Li also looked at the cat hurriedly, saying quickly, Senior Cat, let Fong Ping go first. If you have any requests, wait. The cat was not anxious at all. It continued to use the Jiao's body as a pillow, its tail hitting Fong Ping. Half of its body was still soaking in the seawater, as if it was thinking about something. After a while, it suddenly said, I'll stab him to death. I want another 100 bags of cat food. It wanted to say that it could not go back, but on second thought, it could not say it. It would be embarrassing. I want to open a cat palace here. It needs to be near the sea, so I can fish. You guys have to help me build one. I also need to rear rats. Mine rats. I need to rear them fat. The cat suddenly felt like drooling. Not being able to go back seemed like a good thing. It could fish, rear mine rats, grow flowers, and cultivate bejeweled nectar. It could also bask in the sun. The sun in the grotto heaven was not good. It was a good choice. If it had nothing to do, it could go outside the grotto heaven. Why not go in and see Gong Juanzi? As the cat thought about it, it felt sleepy. It said in a daze, "The bed in the cat palace can't be hard. No, I have to soak in the seawater. You have to build me a big pool." It was still narrating, but Fong Ping sighed. It was over. This cat had gone mad. The true king was here. Mother asterisk cur. This fellow was not letting him go. Old Zhang was not reliable. What did the cat food that you owe me have anything to do with it? You've wronged me. Teacher, you guys leave quickly. If I hide my aura, he might not notice me. Hurry. As they were talking, the cat woke up and said hurriedly, "That's all. That's all. Can you?" Fong Ping was helpless. He laughed dryly and said, "No problem. It's a small matter. But can you let us leave first? Brother Cat is not afraid of the true king, but if we're involved. The cat seemed to be thinking about the meaning of this word. After a while it muttered, "How?" As soon as it finished speaking, the cat turned its head and looked at the sky-shaking figure in the distance. After a while, the cat's tail flicked. After a while, a huge fishing rod appeared in the cat's paws. Fong Ping was stunned. It was a fishing rod. He could see the fish hook. When the fishing rod appeared, the cat swung it a little and said unskillfully, "I haven't fished for a long time. I don't really remember how to fish. You're not allowed to look. If you don't catch anything, you're not allowed to laugh. Otherwise, I'll feed you to the big dogs." Having said that, the cat's fishing rod suddenly pierced through the space. The golden fish hook disappeared in the blink of an eye. In the distance, King Song, who was still flying through the air, stopped in his tracks. The next moment, a deafening scream reverberated throughout the 7 southern territory. ****. The scream was short and urgent. As Fong Ping and the others stared blankly, the cat stuck its buttocks in the air and pulled the fishing rod, huffing and puffing. "I forgot how to fish. This guy is different from the fish. He's so strong. It's a loss. It's a loss. I caught something he can't eat. I'm so tired. Little Sword isn't here. There's no one to pull the fishing rod for me. I'm so tired." The cat sounded aggrieved. It felt like it was not worth it this time. It felt aggrieved. Fong Ping and the others had long been dumbfounded. Not far away, Chi Huanyu looked like he had seen a ghost. At this moment, he broke through the air and fled far away. He saw a ghost. A true king powerhouse screamed. Something hooked his nose, and then he was dragged into the space rift. Then, everything was gone. There was really nothing left. There was no scream, no explosion of force, no shattering of space. The only thing was that the void seemed to be surging. It was like a big fish was struggling in the water, stirring up some residual waves. Scary. There was something wrong with the 7 southern territory. Until now, he had not seen the cat. Even though he was 1,000 meters away from Fong Ping, he did not see it. Even though he looked at Fong Ping a few times, he still did not see the cat. Chi Huanyu was so shocked that he was going crazy. What happened? Chi Huanyu ran very fast. Fong Ping and the others were also completely stunned. A cat took out a fishing rod and caught a true king. What was this? A true king powerhouse was the symbol of invincibility. Now he was caught like a fish. The cat was still pulling the fishing rod, as if it wanted to pull him out. Could it be that King Song would be caught later? Nine Heavens Divine Emperor. Chapter 842. The void was still surging. The cat stuck out its buttocks and grunted, "I'm so tired. You guys, help me pull it." Big Cat seemed to be really tired. It was struggling to pull the fishing rod. Fong Ping and the others were already stunned. At this moment, Fong Ping hurriedly said, "Lord Cat, that King Pine he still wants to run." The cat turned its head and gave him a look, a little unhappy. It patted Fong Ping's cheek with its tail. "Hurry up and help me pull him over. If you do, he won't be able to escape." Although they were confused, they didn't say a word as they stepped forward and began to pull out the fishing rods. As soon as Fong Ping touched the fishing rod, he felt a chill in his hand. The fishing rod looked like a bamboo pole, but it was unknown what it was made of. Fong Ping quickly used the imperishable substance, unleashing a destructive force. However, at this time, no matter how strong the explosion was, it was as if the fishing rod did not move an inch, unaffected at all. It was not just Fong Ping. At this moment, the others present also came forward to help. Zhang Weiyu and the others also rushed back, each of them wearing a solemn expression, not knowing what to do. Old Man Li panted as he helped to drag them. "Elder Cat, King Pine has been dragged here. How do we deal with him?" From the tone of the cat's voice, it seemed like it wanted to drag the Pine King here from the space. But even if a true king was dragged here, what could he do? The cat looked at him curiously as if it was looking at a fool and said in a strange tone, "I dragged him over. His power was depleted in the space passage. At that time, I can poke him to death." These people are so stupid. When fishing, of course, it was necessary to fish the other party into a spatial crack. That way, he could wear down the other party's strength. Moreover, it was impossible to recover energy inside the spatial crack. If Xiao Chun dragged him to the front of it, that king would become a cultivator with a strong physical body. His physical body would also be damaged, and his strength would decrease by more than 80%. It was stabbed to death in an instant, and these people actually asked it if it was stupid or not. Old Man Li blushed from the cat's stare. He was despised by a cat. Unfortunately, in front of this cat, Old Li did not dare to speak carelessly. This cat looked easy to talk to, but it had hooked a true monarch, so he didn't dare to be presumptuous. Too strong. Who would deal with a true king like this? The war king had almost been beaten to death while trying to kill a true monarch, and it took him a long time to recover from his injuries. But what about this cat? As he spoke, the void in front of Fong Ping, and the others began to surge. The cat said happily, "I'm going to catch it. You over there. You over there. Come over here. I'll poke him to death. His essence, qi, and spirit are overflowing. You guys can absorb some of it." The green cat wagged its big tail happily. He hadn't fished for a long time, but his skills were still there. Just like that, he managed to hook the true god. This true god was really dumb. It was easy to hook him, and he didn't even put in much effort. As the cat spoke, a crack appeared in the void, and a figure could be vaguely seen. "Who is it? Let this king go." A roar came from the space. It was a little weak and a little frightened. King Song was afraid, terrified. He didn't know what had hooked his nose. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't get it off. Even if he broke his golden body, it was useless. The golden hook seemed to have hooked not only his body but also his spiritual power. Along the way, the spatial cracks continuously eroded his strength and consumed his foundation. By the time he sensed the aura of the outside world, King Pine was already terrified. An unknown expert, very, very strong. He didn't know who it was. He only knew that he had less than 10% of his strength. If he went out, he might die. He didn't want to die. King Pine was furious. He had just entered the outer region, So why did such a terrifying expert appear? It wasn't just a problem of the expert. What was the golden hook? It could actually confine an invincible true king like him. King Pine was terrified. At this moment, he struggled again. He didn't want to go out. He didn't want to come out. In the outside world, the cat seemed to be used to such a situation. It suddenly picked up the fishing rod and stabbed the void. Poochie! Space rippled like water and was pierced through. The fishing rod that was several meters long suddenly enlarged countless times, turning into an incomparably huge rod. The ash cat grabbed the fishing rod with its claws and hit the pine monarch's head repeatedly. Come out. If you don't come out, you'll die inside. Come out quickly. Pung, pung, pung. The fishing rod hit King Pine's head until it was about to explode. A true king was actually about to be knocked unconscious. This was also an unbelievable thing. The fishing rod had the effect of intimidating mentality. King Pine felt dizzy, his resistance loosened. In the next moment, a broken figure appeared in front of Fong Ping and the others. Everyone was stunned. A true king, alive, just 3 meters away from them. Like a fish on land, his body twitched a few times, but he could not move. His eyes rolled back. At this moment, the cat was still hitting his head with the fishing rod. There was a big grin on the cat's face, so wide that its tongue was almost sticking out. He caught it. It was smiling. Fong Ping and the others were really stunned to the extreme. They had captured a true king alive. Killing a true king. There were people who could do it. Suppressing Heavenly King, Zhang Tao, Li Shun, Warlord, these people, they had all done it. They had killed a true king, killed a top monster, and had such achievements. However, capturing a true king alive, no one had done it before. Fong Ping glanced at the big cat's fishing rod. Treasure. A real treasure. He had never seen such a powerful divine weapon. The fishing hook could hook a true king. The fishing rod could hit a true king, knocking the other party unconscious. This was too suitable for him. If he carried the fishing rod, concealed his aura, and secretly hit a true king, would he be able to knock him unconscious? If he could also kill a true king. Fong Ping wanted to gulp, but he dared not show any covetousness. This big cat was too strong. Moreover, it had helped them capture a true king this time. He could be considered a partner, so he could not offend this cat. The cat did not care about this. After hitting King Pine for a while, it looked at Zhang Weiyu and the others, smiling widely. Poke him to death? If you poke him to death, you can absorb his essence, qi, and spirit to fill yourself up. If you don't poke him to death, you can stew him. Oh, right, do you eat it? This cat won't eat it. It's disgusting. Big Dog used to eat it. It's disgusting too. The cat suddenly felt a little disgusted, its big tail suddenly whipping the jowl. Big Dog was disgusting. It ate true gods. Think about it, the cat only ate skewers, only grilled fish, drank ambrosia, and sometimes to have a sumptuous meal, it only ate some miscellaneous food. Big Dog was different. It ate everything. It was not picky. Woo-woo. The Jiao was dizzy from the beating. It wanted to cry. Did I offend you? This cat was too despicable. The Jiao was whimpering. Fong Ping and the others were stunned again. Stew a true king? These words made them dizzy. Fong Ping said hurriedly, poke him to death. Right, poke him to death, his Tao of origin. Fong Ping suddenly remembered something. If this fellow died, what about his Tao of origin? This was a true king that was captured alive. When the cat heard this, it looked surprised. It scratched its ears with its claws and asked curiously, why do you want his Tao of origin? His Tao is short and narrow. It's getting longer and longer. It's useless to walk it. You can walk your own Tao. Zhang Weiyu was so excited that he was trembling. He said hurriedly, Senior, can you keep his Tao of origin? Just like how mysterious jade, true king's Tao of origin, turned into the Tao of origin, Wu Quishan benefited immensely. This was the Tao of origin, left behind by a dead true king's descendants. And this was a living true king powerhouse. I can't. The cat shook its head. If I poke him to death, I can keep a bit of my Tao of origin. Even if I leave, I won't surpass him. Do you guys want this? Yes. Everyone said in unison. What a joke. Even if they did not use it, it was not like everyone could reach the top if they let a rank 9 powerhouse walk. Even if it was comparable to King Pine, or even worse, it was still a hopeless situation. At this moment, Fang Ping even wanted to pry into the true king's Tao of origin. But after thinking about it, he gave up. The true king's Tao of origin consumed too much. He did not have much wealth now. Moreover, the current him did not need to look at the path of such a powerful powerhouse. He would be easily affected by the other party's will. The two who walked 1 to 200 meters earlier affected him a little. He would have to wait until he really walked out of his own Tao of origin. So troublesome. The cat was troubled. These people had a lot of demands. In the past, when he fished, he roasted and ate them. If he did not want to eat them, he just had to poke them to death. Now, these people wanted him to strip the Tao of origin. It was really troublesome. Cat food, cat palace. The cat muttered for a while, comforting himself. Forget it. He could not go back. He did not want to work on his own, so he would let these humans work for him. He wanted to live in the cat palace and not be a stray cat. He was different from the big dogs. The big dogs had the world as their home, the ground as their bed, and the sky as their blanket. They could sleep wherever they went. It was not like that. The cat used the fishing rod to hit King Pine with all its might. As it hit and hit, King Pine trembled all over. In the next moment, something like a crystal door floated out from the other party's body. The cat was also unbearably tired. He muttered, "This is it. When he's dead, you guys can take a look. After you're done, it'll be destroyed." As he said that, the cat was afraid that they would ask for more conditions. He immediately said, "I'm going to poke him to death. Don't talk." Having said that, the cat did not attack King Pine. A strange light flashed in his big eyes. Then he poked the air with his claws. Poke. With a poke, King Pine's body trembled. With a poke, he trembled. The cat seemed to be quite tired too, panting. After a while, King Pine suddenly let out a muffled groan. In an instant, an extremely powerful energy overflowed from his body. The world changed color again. Rumble! The great Tao collapsed, and the sky turned blood red again. A true monarch died. So easily. At this moment, Zhang Weiyu and the others were excited. When the energy of the true monarch's death hit them, everyone felt refreshed. Everything that had been exhausted before seemed to be recovering. Catch a true monarch and kill him. This was the first time in the world that this had happened. At the same time, in the direction of Imperial Sea Mountain, in the Black Rift, dozens of true monarchs were fighting. At this moment, they suddenly stopped. In the next moment, a rift exploded not far away. Heavenly King Zhen and Myriad Demon King appeared at the same time. Myriad Demon King looked slightly disheveled, but he was still calm. However, he only calmed down for 3 seconds. He suddenly looked at the 7 southern regions, and his eyes burst out with 2 terrifying lights. Who? He killed King Pine without a sound. Who is it? What's in the 7 southern regions? The master of the bounded domain has come out. No, even if the master comes out, he might not be as good as me. How could this be? Myriad Demon King could not believe it. How is this possible? Even if the master of the bounded domain really came out, he might be able to kill a true monarch, but it would not be so shocking. King Pine had died without a sound. On the side, Heavenly King Zhen seemed to be deep in thought. After a while, he frowned slightly. 7 southern regions, Quokang Mountain. Did the ash cat come out? That cat was actually born again. However, this cat had never liked to kill people. It was so lazy that it made people's hair stand on end. Even if you fought on top of its head and did not disturb its sleep, it would be too lazy to care. How could it kill King Pine? The ash cat used that thing. Heavenly King Zhen's eyes moved slightly. This cat's birth was not a good thing. The ash cat, heavenly dog, these two were not good things. The heavenly dog seemed to have disappeared. But the ash cat, the world had changed again and again, but it was still the favorite of the heavens. It could not be killed, could not be destroyed, and could turn misfortune into fortune. There were no disasters and no difficulties. No matter how big the battle was, it could not be affected. When in danger, it fell asleep. When it fell asleep, those who were stronger than it were killed by it in one sleep. The masters of this world had changed again and again, but only this cat had lived one life after another. The ash cat came out. Who did it come out for? At this moment, Heavenly King Zhen's heart was in turmoil again. Sure enough, was the great era coming? Every time the ash cat came out, it would face great changes. Every time, the people who followed it were the influential figures of that era. 2,000 years ago, the ash cat did not follow Gong Zhuanzi, but unquestionable Jian. 2,000 years later, who was it coming out for? Heavenly King Zhen looked at Zhang Tao abruptly. Then there was a sudden burst of divine light in his eyes, as if penetrating thousands of miles. He saw the interior of the 7 southern regions, saw Fang Ping and the others. Who was it? Who was the target that the ash cat wanted to follow? Heavenly King Zhen's heart was in turmoil. Zhang Tao was also a little shocked. How did that cat do it? He did not sense anything, nor did he feel the aura of a great battle. In his senses, it was King Pine who entered the region, then his aura disappeared for a while, and then he died. A true king had fallen just like that. Even Zhang Tao was shocked. He had already observed the ash cat's strength when he entered the region. It was not too strong, at least not as strong as him, and might not even be as strong as Li Zhan and the others. But how did this cat kill King Pine? Even Zhang Tao was shocked, let alone the others. King Feng's gaze was frighteningly solemn. He said coldly, "There's a change in the 7 southern regions. Everyone quickly kill King Wu and the others to prevent further changes in the 7 southern regions." At this moment, they dared not send people to investigate the 7 southern regions. It was eerily quiet there. At this moment, the best choice was still to kill King Wu and the others. When the time came, everyone could enter the 7 southern regions together to investigate. Kill. These true kings were terrified, but they were not stupid. This was also the best time to kill King Wu and the others. At this moment, a total of 10 Sino nations' top powerhouses were gathered here. Heavenly King Zhen, King Wu, Hades, King War, King Sword, and the 5 patriarchs of the Jiang, Shen, Lu, Zhang, and Meng families had all arrived at this moment. 10 human powerhouses, and their opponents were also countless powerhouses. Myriad Demon King, Life King, Maple King, 100 Mountain King, King Hua. These people were all powerful true kings who entered Zhang Tao's combat strength ranking. There were close to 30 true king powerhouses. At this moment, they were also incomparably powerful, forcing the humans to retreat again and again. Even though 3 great monarchs had already perished, at this point, no one was willing to retreat anymore. Life King fought Li Zhan alone. It was a fact that Li Zhan, who had just stepped onto the second Dao, was not as strong as Life King. Even though Li Zhan had taken 2 Dao, his combat strength was only increased by about 1. 6 times. However, Li Jun was also a ninth-grade golden body cultivator with a strong foundation. Even though he was not as strong as Life King, he was not completely defeated. Even so, Li Jun had been injured in order to kill Earth Sunflower King. Now that he was targeted by Life King, his military uniform was already torn to pieces, and he was almost naked. However, at this point, no one cared about these things anymore. Break. No one cared about what was happening in the 7 southern regions. Inside the space, 9 human powerhouses were surrounded by close to 30 powerhouses. There was no time to think. At this moment, Zhang Tao's combat strength was also unparalleled. At this moment, Zhang Tao was facing 3 supreme powerhouses, Maple King, 100 Mountain King, and King Hua. Even though he was at a disadvantage, he was still fighting, which shocked many true kings. Maple King had not gone too far on the first Dao, and he had just started on the second Dao. But no matter what, Maple King was not weaker than Li Jun, who had stepped onto the second Dao. But at this moment, the 3 of them still could not gain an absolute advantage against Zhang Tao. The black space expanded endlessly. Apart from a few powerful supreme powerhouses, the other human supreme powerhouses were already injured. Golden blood splattered in the void. A few old men had white hair and beards. Even though their combat strength was not strong, they could still fight 1 against 2 or even 3 against 1. Entangling with the enemy, the Shun family's old ancestor, the supreme powerhouse who had created the new martial era, was laughing loudly. Worth it. The creation of the new martial era was worth it. In a mere 90 years, supreme powerhouses like King Wu and King of Hell had appeared. It was really worth it. Even if they died in battle today, they would not feel wronged. Zhang Tao, Li Jun, kill a few more. 90 years ago, this old man was unwilling to accept defeat. I was unwilling to accept defeat, and I was unwilling to accept defeat. I have never been so vexed in my life. Today is so satisfying. The Guardian of the North, Chun Haotian. 90 years ago, in a great battle, he and the Chun family's old ancestor were heavily injured. Unwilling, aggrieved. Year after year, day after day, they were bullied, unable to resist, unable to fight back. Although the subduing heavenly king was strong, he could not change all of this. That year after the defeat, he and Chen Guiyang decided that great waves would purge the sand, and the vast ocean would search for the lost pearl. There would come a day when new people would emerge, and new people would rise. And today, they had done it. The new martial era had been created for less than 100 years, and supreme powerhouses had appeared, killing monarchs like killing dogs. In one battle, 3 monarchs had fallen. Delightful. Congratulations. Martial King Zhang Tao's combat strength was unparalleled. With his strength alone, he was able to fight against 3 supreme powerhouses. This was his greatest achievement, his greatest pride. The beginning of the new martial era might be the best decision Chen Haotian had made in his life. Old Chen, it's a pity that you didn't see it, but you will see it sooner or later. Ha ha! The old man fought against 2 monarchs alone. His golden body was cracked, blood splattered, and the void was torn apart. But the old man was still laughing, carefree, not aggrieved. Even if I die here, I saw the death of a monarch in the catacombs. This is glory. Bang! A loud sound rang out, and the old man's right arm suddenly exploded. With a roar, he swung his left arm and punched through one of the monarchs. His opponent's expression was cold, ignoring the injury, and once again joined forces with another monarch to kill Chun Haotian, old ancestor Shun. Li Jun, who was fighting with Fate King, suddenly roared. At this moment, sword Qi pierced through the clouds, causing the sky to change color. A shocking sword, aura, exploded, instantly killing towards Chun Haotian's opponent. That monarch hastily retreated, but was still hit by the sword, Aura. When he saw the projection of the Shun family's patriarch tremble and show signs of dissipating, Chen Yaozu's face instantly turned red. He roared angrily, unwilling and furious. Chen Haoqian, his father's best friend, was about to die. Absolutely not. Chen Yaozu's aura became stronger and stronger. Unwillingness, anger, and all kinds of emotions attacked him. The Chen and Shun families had the best relationship. Chen Haoqian was slightly stronger than his father, but he was seriously injured in order to save his father. They almost died in that battle 90 years ago. Chen Yaozu knew all of this. Today, his father did not come. His father could not save him in time, but he could. If I can't reach the peak in 300 years, do I have to wait for another 300 years? Chen Yaozu roared angrily. At this moment, a giant dragon appeared. In the blink of an eye, it began to extend from 800 meters, 900 meters, 950 meters, 990 meters. In the next moment, it stopped. Chen Yaozu's eyes were cold. He suddenly laughed and said loudly, "I'll go first." After saying that, he crossed 1,000 meters in a step and disappeared in front of everyone in the blink of an eye. Fight. The peak was achieved through fighting. Fight to the peak. At the same time, Zhang Weiyu also shook his head helplessly, sighing, "I'm not as good as the minister of the 3 departments, still a little lacking." He let out a sigh filled with deep regret. "I'm not as good as the minister of the 3 departments." Zhang, Li, and Nan, the 3 of them had perfected their paths, fighting a rank 9 and breaking through, while they were a little lacking. If that was the case, then let's go and fight a true king. Zhang Weiyu also laughed heartily, stepping into the air and leaving. Fang Ping hurriedly threw out a large mass of imperishable substance, but Zhang Weiyu hit it back casually, smiling. The true king's legacy is enough. What they lacked now was not this. "Be careful!" Fang Ping roared. He was a little unwilling, a little worried. Both Chen and Zhang had not broken through to the peak. If they joined the battle now, it would be extremely dangerous, even if they were only a step away from the peak. If they joined the battle hastily, they might die instantly. Wu Chuan and Wu Quishan were about to take a step forward when the cat said lazily, "It's useless for both of you to go. Smack, kill them. Both of them can withstand a few moves and advance quickly." Although both Chen and Zhang had not advanced now, they had reached a limit. If they fought a true king, there was a chance that they would advance instantly. Heir Wu, on the other hand, could not do it. There was still a brewing period, and he would be killed in the blink of an eye. Seeing that both of them were unwilling, the cat muttered, "There's still a fake god who's almost a true god over there. Both of you go and fight him. If you kill him, there's hope for both of you too." As soon as the words came out, both of them took off in the blink of an eye. They had almost forgotten about Qi Huanyu. Chen and Zhang used the true king as a whetstone. Then both of them would use Qi Huanyu as a whetstone. The cat, on the other hand, did not care about this anymore. Seeing that Fang Ping had sneakily picked up the Pine King's storage ring, it asked curiously, "Who's that your imperishable substance just now? Did it come out of thin air?" Fang Ping's body stiffened, but the cat said again, "This imperishable substance of yours doesn't seem to be yours. It was stolen." "Who's that? Someone seems like what?" The cat raised its head and looked at the sky. "I forgot. My memory has been deteriorating badly recently. Am I old? But I still feel very young. I've only slept a few times in my cat life. I haven't spent much time. Didn't they say that true gods were immortal and indestructible? Why is my memory deteriorating?" The cat thought about his cat life for a while. After 3 seconds of heat, he did not dwell on it anymore. Suddenly, he looked at Iron Head and said, "Who's that? You look a little familiar. Have we met before? Why have you become weaker?" Li Hansong did not know what to say. Without waiting for him to speak, the cat said again, "Forget it. I don't care. I'm not that familiar with you. You definitely haven't fed me before. Otherwise, I would definitely remember you." Everyone was stunned. "You only remember if I fed you before?" Chapter 843. The cat's dementia was acting up, and it could not remember anything. Fong Ping and the others did not dare to ask. At this moment, the murderous aura in the direction of Imperial Sea Mountain was soaring. Fong Ping suddenly had the urge to watch the battle. After struggling for a moment, Fong Ping said, "Lord Cat, can you bring us to Imperial Sea Mountain? Or watch the battle in other ways?" The cat shook its big head. "I can't go. I have to soak in the seawater. Once the Forbidden Sea's seawater leaves the Forbidden Sea, it will be ineffective unless I open up a path to Imperial Sea Mountain." "Does Lord Cat have to hide?" Fong Ping was puzzled. Since they were already out, why hide? The cat muttered. "Gong Juanzi said that if I don't hide, everyone will kill me. Actually, I don't think I need to hide. Forget it, I'll hide. What if everyone wants to kill me?" It was actually not too afraid. It did not fight. It was a good cat. Why would they want to kill it? However, since Gong Juanzi said so, to avoid trouble, it was better to hide. The cat muttered and said regretfully, "Too bad they're all gone. Otherwise, I won't be afraid." His old backers were gone. Otherwise, where could the cat not go? Back then, when the big dog bullied him, he blew the whistle and many powerhouses came to help, although they were still beaten up by the big dog. Not talking about the past, the cat continued to look up at the sky. Watch the battle. Watching the battle was what it was best at. How was it supposed to watch the battle? After thinking for a while, a mirror suddenly appeared in the cat's paws. With a smile on its face, it said happily, "Divine peeking mirror. I specialize in watching the battle. It's amazing." The mirror in the cat's hand had an ancient aura. It seemed to be thinking about how to use the mirror. After thinking for a while, the cat suddenly tossed the mirror into the air and muttered, "Big dog, bless me, little sword, bless me. That person bless me, come out quickly, Fong Ping." And the others were dumbfounded. That worked too? It really worked. The mirror suddenly enlarged dozens of times, like a giant wall. In the blink of an eye, a ray of light pierced through the void and headed straight for Imperial Sea Mountain. At the same time, Heavenly King suddenly appeared outside the rift. At this moment, Myriad Demon King and Life King did not appear. Heavenly King seemed to see this ray of light that ordinary people could not see. Divine peeking mirror. Why did it appear again? How could this be? Didn't the divine peeking mirror shatter long ago? Moreover, the fragment had been lost, so how could it appear in the hands of the cat? And what was this guy doing with it? Spy on the battlefield? This cat, Heavenly King Zhen, suddenly had the urge to rob it. Just as he was thinking about it, the crack broke. In the next moment, the 1,000 Goblin King and Fate King appeared at the same time. Fate King looked extremely pathetic. His eyes were cold and sharp, but he felt a little sullen. Compared to Heavenly King Zhentian and Myriad Demon King, he was indeed much weaker. Although he was the lord of the true Monarch Palace, he hadn't reached the level of a twofold boost, and his foundation wasn't as solid as the other two. The Azure Cat was several thousand li away. If the Azure Cat felt that he had the strength of a titled true god, then it meant that he also had a trump card. As the #1 person in the Destiny Royal Court, it was only natural that he had some trump cards up his sleeves. But in terms of strength, he was indeed inferior to the two of them. While Ming Wang was still thinking, the 1,000 Goblin King looked towards the 7 southern regions. He seemed to have faintly sensed something, and his gaze was a little strange. Did the experts of the 7 southern regions use some kind of treasure? A treasure from the ancient times? As he was thinking, the 1,000 Goblin King's body suddenly trembled slightly, shattering an invisible wave. He snorted coldly, but didn't speak. 7 southern regions. On the huge mirror, 3 people appeared, faintly discernible. Suddenly, one of them snorted coldly and disappeared from the mirror in the next moment. The Azure Cat muttered, "So annoying. A big snake is the most annoying. I really want to stab it to death. But it's so powerful. I can't stab it to death." The Azure Cat was a little disappointed. It hated big snakes, but it was very difficult to stab it to death. Forget it. He would let it go. In the future, he would gather people to stab the big snake to death and eat snake soup. Snake soup? The Azure Cat muttered, as if thinking of something, and murmured, "This big snake, I seem to have eaten its ancestor before. Big Dog killed it. I think so." He couldn't remember. Big Dog had secretly hunted a big snake before. It was very, very strong, and its aura was similar to this big snake. It must have eaten its ancestor, right? It was muttering. Fang Ping and the others gulped again. They seemed to be facing these few powerhouses. Even their auras seemed to be simulated on the mirror. At this moment, Fang Ping suddenly had the urge to kneel on the ground. Powerful. 3 powerhouses. He did not recognize any of them. Actually, Fang Ping had seen Heavenly King Garrison and Life King before, but he did not see them. Or rather, he had only heard their voices. He really did not know what they looked like. It was the same now. On the mirror, one of them disappeared. The other 2 did not disappear, but their faces could not be seen either. Life King's projection seemed to be clearer. Fang Ping took a look and seemed to see something different. "Cat, Master Cat, this mirror, what is it used for?" Fang Ping was stunned again, gulping a little. The others did not seem to feel anything, including Li Daong and the others. They did not realize anything. However, Fang Ping seemed to sense something wrong. In the mirror on the Life King's projection, there seemed to be 2 horizontal lines running through the body. Fang Ping also vaguely saw another phantom. It was not very clear, and he could not see it clearly. "The Azure Cat," said matter-of-factly, "it's for watching a show?" "No. I mean, that person has 2 lines on his body. Lines?" The Azure Cat widened its eyes and looked, its big tail whipping the jiao. After thinking for a while, unsure, it mumbled, "Main path? I don't remember. Isn't the divine peeking mirror for watching a show? I forgot. It's a little like the main path. Is it for peeping into the origin space? I still don't remember. If I can't see it clearly, it's useless." The Azure Cat mumbled. Fang Ping was sure. What the hell was this mirror? It was actually somewhat similar to his system's new function. It was reflecting the powerhouse's origin path. There was actually a divine weapon that could reflect origin path. What a joke! What kind of divine weapon was this? Fang Ping had always felt that although divine weapons were powerful, when in a desperate situation, all divine weapons were fabricated. Zhang Tao and the others could casually smash a rank 9 divine weapon without any difficulty. Even if it was a supreme divine weapon, it was only equivalent to having half the combat strength of a paragon. It would definitely be useful against weak paragons, but against a powerful paragon like Zhang Tao, a supreme divine weapon would probably be average and might not have any effect. However, now, the Azure Cat had shattered all his thoughts. A fishing rod hooked a true king to death. A mirror spanning thousands of miles, reflecting the true king powerhouse, even vaguely reflecting his origin path. It was really too scary. Fong Ping was still in shock. The azure cat shook its head and said, "I don't remember." The divine, peeking mirror seemed to have broken once. "Seems like it. I remember now. Many years ago. I don't remember how many years it has been." When Big Dog was still alive, it insisted on borrowing the divine peeking mirror. It seemed like it wanted to peep at the emperor. It was probably so. "I don't remember clearly, but it should be." Big Dog peeped. And in the end, the mirror was broken by someone. "Meow. Big Dog owes me a mirror. Return it to me." Slap, slap, slap. The Jiao's big tail was almost swollen. The Jiao was whimpering nonstop. "What now? What now?" It did not say a word. This cat kept whipping it. Why? The Jiao was still whimpering. Fong Ping and the others had already forgotten how many times they had been stunned today. A dog found a cat and borrowed a mirror to peep at the emperor. Then it was discovered by the emperor, and the mirror was broken. Why was it that ever since this cat appeared, they felt like their worldview was collapsing? How old was this antique? The emperor realm. Since ancient times, there was only one person who had the strength of the emperor realm, the demon emperor. As for the human world, there were legends, but no one knew who it was. The only thing they knew was that the catacombs demon emperor had the strength of the emperor realm. And what was the era of the demon emperor? No one knew. It was said that the two kings were from the demon emperor era, and the two kings had a war with the sections. If that was the case, perhaps the demon emperor was before the sects, or even had something to do with the sections. No matter what, when the azure cat mentioned the emperor realm, Fong Ping realized that this cat was probably even earlier than the sections. The azure cat maintained its enthusiasm for 3 seconds before forgetting. It glanced at the heavenly king's subduer's projection and seemed to be deep in thought. After a while, it said, "This guy is so strong. He's even stronger than that fake emperor of yours." Fong Ping's gaze moved again. He did not recognize it before, but now he asked, "Heavenly King, subduer?" "I don't know." The azure cat stared at the heavenly king subduer with its big eyes and suddenly said, "Old man, do you know me?" It seemed to be talking to the heavenly king subduer in the mirror. There was no telepathy, no mentality outburst. It was just asking the shadow in the mirror. Just when Fong Ping and the others thought that its dementia was acting up again, in the mirror, the heavenly king subduer's shadow suddenly nodded slightly, its voice so low that it was almost inaudible. "Azure Cat." "Yeah, you really know me?" The azure cat seemed to be a little excited, swinging its big tail and thinking hard. It said excitedly, I think I saw someone familiar. You know Little Sword, right? You seem to have come to Quachang Mountain with Little Sword before, right? Once we went fishing. Did you go with us? But I'm not too familiar with you. Are you Little Sword's subordinate? I don't think so. Are you his friend? The azure cat was a lot more talkative this time. After a long time, it suddenly said dejectedly, "I've forgotten a lot of things. Also, if you know Little Sword, why did you walk so many paths? Little Sword failed. You can't walk to the end. The paths are all blocked." The heavenly king subduer did not seem surprised, its voice getting deeper and deeper. Convergence of thousands of paths. The words "convergence of thousands of paths" made Fong Ping's eyebrows twitch. He seemed to have understood something. The heavenly king subduer seemed to know a lot of things. He even knew that the main path was blocked. He also knew that the more paths he walked, the harder it would be. However, he still chose to continue walking, choosing to walk a few paths. He wanted to say that when there are more paths, the convergence of thousands of paths will eventually form a great path, breaking through the blocked path. Will this work? Fong Ping did not quite understand. The azure cat did not seem too concerned either. At this moment, Both parties were thousands of miles apart without any mentality communication, but they just communicated just like that. The Azure Cat was deeply distressed by its memory loss, as if it was not very interested in the Heavenly King's subduer, saying weakly, "Do whatever you want. Also, the pseudo-emperor has appeared. You're in trouble. He'll beat you up sooner or later." "Let him try." The Heavenly King's subduer gave a low laugh. In the blink of an eye, its figure disappeared in the mirror. Fong Ping's expression suddenly turned serious. What did it mean? "Master Cat, what did you mean? Zhang Tao and the Heavenly King's subduer had a battle? Why?" The Azure Cat said strangely, "The Emperor, human, and Tao converge. This person who is a little familiar, he did not converge. Of course the Emperor will beat him up." "Converge?" The Azure Cat shook its big head again, saying irritably, "You have so many questions. So annoying. I'm so annoyed. Stop asking. Always asking. Always asking. How would I know? I only remembered it when I saw it." Fong Ping also looked embarrassed, saying hurriedly, "Master Cat, don't be angry. One last question. The kind where they have to fight to the death. Also, who will win?" "Fight to the death." When the Azure Cat heard his last question, it felt that it was better to finish quickly and shut him up, saying quickly, "I don't remember. It's not necessary, right? The titled true God has jumped out of this boundary. It seems like it's fine not to care, but if I don't care, human and Tao have not converged. The Emperor will not be so strong. That's not right. This acquaintance, if he becomes an emperor, then he can still give back to the Emperor. Not really. What is it like?" The Azure Cat wanted to cry. "I just slept a few times. How could I forget so many things? Also, these people are really annoying. Gong Juanzi never asked. Even if he asked, he did not want to answer. If he did not answer, Gong Juanzi would not ask anymore." However, the pseudo-emperor and this thief had a lot of questions, and they kept asking. If he did not answer, what if he did not give him cat food? Skipping this topic, the Azure Cat immediately answered the next question, to prevent the thief from asking further, saying hurriedly, "They are fighting, and now the pseudo-emperor seems to be unable to defeat him. But the pseudo-emperor is still getting stronger, and this acquaintance seems to be unable to go on. I don't know who will win." Having said that, the Azure Cat suddenly pulled a long face and said sternly, "Don't ask any more. Ask again, and I'll poke you. So many questions. This cat is getting annoyed, you know? Ask again, and I'll feed you to the big dogs." The Azure Cat ignored him. The image on the mirror began to jump, and everyone's heart palpitated. Darkness. Infinite darkness. Outside Mount Imperial Sea, it became a dark zone. No one and nothing could be seen, as if everything did not exist. Only the dark void. The Azure Cat controlled the mirror, and very quickly it shifted to a huge crack. In the crack, they could vaguely see figures. "They're fighting in the space battlefield." Fong Ping opened his mouth to ask, but after thinking for a while, he decided to forget it. He was afraid that this cat would really feed him to the dogs. He kicked Iron Head. "You can ask. You're also its acquaintance. You can ask." Li Hansong was embarrassed and whispered, "Cat, Master Cat, what is the space battlefield?" "It's a place where true gods fight, and it doesn't destroy the world. But there are many of them, and the space battlefield is also broken, so it will affect the world, and the nearby places have all been destroyed." The Azure Cat was very easy to talk to this time, and said happily, "But these people are stupid. Fighting in the space battlefield requires blood, and the source space is better." Ironhead wanted to ask again, but the Azure Cat seemed to have expected it. It stretched out its claws and pried, opened the Jiao's big mouth, but the cat's face was full of threat. "Don't ask again. If you ask, you'll be fed to the big dogs." The Jiao's big mouth opened wide, its face full of innocence. This has nothing to do with me. I came here today to be abused. I'm a rank 9 demon king, but now I'm worse than a dog. The Azure Cat did not give them a chance to ask questions, and continued to control the mirror to watch the battle, as if the space had been penetrated. A dark battlefield appeared in front of everyone. Marshal King, are you still not going to accept your fate? A loud laugh reached everyone's ears. This mirror had the ability to transmit sound. Previously, when the subduing Heavenly King transmitted his voice, everyone already knew. Fong Ping felt that this thing was much more advanced than the surveillance device in the catacombs. Fong Ping was familiar with this voice. Maple King. In the next moment, a complete picture appeared on the mirror. In the dark battlefield, dozens of true kings and many peerless powerhouses were still fighting at this moment. The humans, on the other hand, were obviously at a disadvantage. Fong Ping glanced at them. 9 of them. 3 of them were breathing heavily, including Li Jun. Li Jun, who was usually cold and powerful, was now leaning on the ground with his long sword. Golden blood dripped slowly along with the sword, and the dripping blood was extinguished by the sword aura in the blink of an eye. Li Jun's breathing was extremely unstable, and he was surrounded by a total of 4 true king powerhouses. Not far from Li Jun, Zhang Tao's crystal book had been completely shattered. Maple King, 100 Mountain King, Hua King, and many other powerhouses surrounded him. At this moment, the bamboo branch was also slightly broken. Zhang Tao's clothes were ragged, but he was still smiling. He chuckled. Feng Ji, do you dare to fight me to the death? Even if I die, it's enough to take you with me. Who among you dares to kill me? Although Zhang Tao was at a disadvantage, he was still laughing wildly. Kill me? Would these catacombs powerhouses dare to? With the strength he had displayed, even at this stage, he still had the ability to take away a peak true king powerhouse. Who would risk their lives to kill him? Maple King did not care. He said lightly, Zhang Tao, you are indeed very strong. You are beyond our expectations. However, no matter how strong you are only one person. Everyone, after killing the other resurrected true kings, we will join forces to kill him. If 3 to 5 people were not enough, what about 10 or 20? No matter how strong they were still true kings, not emperors. When there were so many people, if all of them attacked, no matter how strong a martial king was, he would not be able to escape death. When that time came, would he still have the ability to perish together with others? The others also knew what to choose. At this moment, among the human peerless powerhouses, there were as few as 2 people surrounding them, and as many as Li Jun and Zhang Tao. Li Jun had 4, Zhang Tao 5. On War King's side, there were also 3 powerhouses surrounding him. Fong Ping glanced at them. There were 26 catacombs, true kings. In addition to the 3 who died in battle, as well as myriad Demon King and Life King, this time the catacombs had sent out 31 true king powerhouses to kill the human powerhouses. 90 years ago, there was no such scale. At that time, it was only Skyplant's royal court that attacked. Skyplant's royal court had 49 true kings. That time, they only sent out about 20 people. This time, not only did they send out more people, but they also had more powerhouses. Rumble! A great battle broke out in an instant. Beside Fong Ping, Chun Chi's breathing suddenly became unstable. He gritted his teeth and said, Old Ancestor Shun. At this moment, Fong Ping and the others' gazes also fell on an old man. His hair and beard were all white, and his body was bathed in red blood. The old man was burly, but at this time, both of his arms were shattered. On his cheek, a crack ran through his face, his bones clearly visible. Although the old man was severely injured, he was still laughing heroically. A bunch of trash. Come on, go. Trash. Are you afraid that I will self-destruct? The old man's voice was like a great bell, his laughter carefree. There were a total of 3 powerhouses surrounding him. He was already at the end of his rope, but these people's attacks had weakened. At this stage, there was a high chance that Shun Haotian would self-destruct. When a top powerhouse self-destructs, the power would be earth-shattering. They did not have the strength of Li Zhan and Zhang Tao, who could kill their opponents quickly. The Shun family's elder ancestor, the top powerhouse that Fang Ping saw for the first time, was now in front of him, surrounded by catacombs powerhouses, and could fall at any time. This feeling of helplessness made Fang Ping feel indescribable grief and indignation. Just as Fang Ping was silent, a loud laugh was heard. "Old Shun, are you still counting on Chun Gaiang to save you? In the end, it's still me who will save you." The next moment, a figure appeared in the black battlefield. Chun 7 hurriedly said, "Wei family's elder ancestor." Today, the Li, Shun, Zhang, Jiang, Jiang, Lu, Su, and Meng family's elders had all arrived. At this moment, the Wei family's elder ancestor had also arrived. Out of the 13 families in Star Town, the Yang family's elder ancestor had fallen, the Chun family's elder ancestor was guarding the West Mountain Passage, and Fang Ping knew of the other 2 families, and the Zhou family. However, out of the 13 families, he only knew 12 of them. Even when he went to Star Town last time, he had not seen anyone from the last family. At this moment, Fang Ping could not help but ask Star Town's 12 elder ancestors, "Are the others not here?" The Zhou family's elder ancestor was not here, and neither was the other one. Chun 7 hesitated and said, "Zhou family's elder ancestor should be guarding the 26 southern territories. The situation there is more complicated. As for..." Chun 7 shook his head and said, "Let's not talk about it. The Xiao family's elder ancestor and the Li family's elder ancestor were a little unhappy. These years, he has been guarding the territory alone, ignoring the outside world. He has not returned to Star Town for more than 100 years." Fang Ping frowned slightly. Star Town's internal problems. Since Chun 7 did not say, Fang Ping did not ask. Out of the 15 top powerhouses in Sino Nation, 11 had arrived today. Zhang Tao said that he would do whatever it took to start the downfall battle. This time, it was really happening. At this moment, Fang Ping's attention was on the battlefield. The arrival of the Wei family's elder ancestor had slightly relieved Shun Haotian's pressure. However, the situation was still bad. Fang Ping prayed in his heart. Since old Zhang had initiated this battle, there must be a backup plan. There must be. "Old Zhang, stop fooling around." Fang Ping was a little anxious, but there was nothing he could do. He did not want to suffer losses in the battle of the top powerhouses after a great victory in the rank 9 battlefield. That would make today's victory seem insignificant. Killing hundreds of rank 9s and 3 true kings was not as disastrous as losing 1 top powerhouse. Fang Ping was anxious, but the cat was watching with relish. It wanted to eat skewers, but realized that there were no more. It glanced at the gopher, then at the phoenix whose wings were broken. It wanted to eat some. If one did not eat skewers while watching a show, the taste would be reduced by 30%. It was a pity that the gopher was too smelly, and the big bird actually pooped too. Damn it! The cat was a little annoyed. It looked at the mirror again and said vaguely, "It's a little familiar. That fatty. I think he brushed this cat's fur before." He was all mysterious and said that touching this cat will make it live longer. I don't know if it's him. Fang Ping's body stiffened. "Did you mean Combat King? P.S. I'm a little dizzy from writing today. Strive for 3 chapters, no eagle will say." Also, at the end of the month, seeking monthly votes. Chapter 844. Fong Ping and the others were watching the battle. Outside Mount Royal Sea. With Forefather Wei's arrival, almost everyone who could come had arrived. Zhang Tao's aura, which was initially on the decline, suddenly rose again. He sighed softly and said, "To overturn this chessboard, it's going to be difficult." As soon as Zhang Tao finished speaking, the shattered crystal book in front of him suddenly returned to its original state. "Since we're all here, let's kill to our heart's content." Zhang Tao suddenly laughed wildly. The way of the human sovereign, the way of returning to one. It was for battle and also for defense. In the blink of an eye, the book in front of him suddenly expanded countless times. Previously, Kong Lingyuan used a folding fan to suppress 12 rank 9s. Kong Lingyuan was not Zhang Tao's student. Did she ask Zhang Tao? At this moment, the book in front of Zhang Tao was like a gigantic screen that covered the sky. In the blink of an eye, it also covered many true kings. It wasn't King Feng and his group, but King Huai and his group of weak, true kings. This included Ji Hong, Huai King, Bamboo King, Green Wolf King, and many other true kings. These people were weak and had been attacking from the rear. There were about 7 or 8 of them. At this moment, Zhang Tao's book expanded and enveloped them. Words began to appear in the book. Defend, protect, defend, defend, suppress. Suppress them for a minute. Everyone, kill. Of the 26 true monarchs, 7 of them had been enveloped. The eyes of King Feng and the others almost popped out of their sockets. King Wu, how many Daos had he fused with the Tao of Coalescence? It was much stronger than he had imagined. This fellow definitely had the strength of a hall master. Destroy his great Tao book. Maple King roared. Although the 7 true kings were weak, no matter how weak they were still true kings. Zhang Tao had only thrown out the great Tao book and did not personally control it. It could be broken through very quickly, and it could even devour martial kings. This was a good thing. However, the 7 people who were trapped seemed to be hesitating. Their attacks were weak and feeble. The Maple King's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. Damn it! He had forgotten the thoughts of these weak true kings. Since he was trapped, so be it. There was no need to go out and fight to the death. Today, the true kings of the Land of Rebirth had gone crazy. He hadn't expected things to turn out this way and get dragged into the war. Right now, these resurrected true kings seemed to be going all out. If they went out now, they would be the first to die. Moreover, Zhang Tao seemed to be covering for these people on purpose. Ji Hong, the son of Fate King, the Green Wolf King, was suspected to be a pawn of the second king. King Huai was also a problematic fellow. Previously, he had not been able to trap and kill him, and instead King Song had died. Covering these people was a group of true kings with the most serious problems. Zhang Tao could buy himself more time. In the blink of an eye, 7 of the 26 people were trapped. The remaining 19 people were up against the top 10 humans. Zhang Tao roared with laughter. "I'll slaughter all of you today." He couldn't protect the 5 people in front of him. In other words, he had to fight 12 people at once. 12 true kings and many peak true kings. Arrogant. The Maple Monarch and the others were infuriated. They were truly too arrogant. Ji Hong, these bastards, didn't put in any effort. Weren't they afraid that the revived martial artists would make a comeback? Kill. The 5 experts dashed toward Zhang Tao at lightning speed. Even if the 7 of them did not put in much effort, Zhang Tao would still need to expend a great deal of energy to suppress them. This was also the moment when Zhang Tao was at his weakest. Rumble. In the space battlefield, there were no spatial cracks. This was the interior of a spatial crack. The energy of the true kings shook the void, but it didn't destroy the space. With the 5 experts working together, it was easy for them to defeat a martial king who wasn't at his peak. Zhang Tao's bamboo branch twitched. In the blink of an eye, it was suppressed by King Hundred Mountain's mountains. More than 10 mountains stacked on top of each other, instantly suppressing the bamboo branch. Zhang Tao, who was barehanded, was still incomparably fierce. He fought with his bare hands. His fist shook the void and sent King Hua flying. Blood spurted wildly in the air. The Maple Monarch took this opportunity to attack with a halberd, which pierced through Zhang Tao's shoulder blade. Zhang Tao was still fierce. With a roar, he grabbed the halberd and crushed it. This was not a divine weapon. There weren't many peak experts with divine weapons. Ordinary divine weapons were useless. This was the manifestation of everyone's origin great Tao, which was forged with mental energy and energy. You think you can kill me? Zhang Tao's eyes were filled with anger. He crushed the halberd with one strike and punched out again. A halberd appeared in the Maple Monarch's hand again. With boundless killing intent, he attacked Zhang Tao. Behind him, the other 2 monarchs also attacked Zhang Tao with their fists and palms. King Hua, who had been blasted away, and King Hundred Mountain, who was suppressing the bamboo branch, also attacked. King Wu was killed. After killing King Wu, the resurrected martial artist collapsed. Kill! Zhang Tao roared again. His fist tore through the void and crushed the halberd again. However, at this moment he was outnumbered. Being attacked by the others, he staggered and blood flowed out of his mouth. Zhang Tao roared like a bell. In the next moment, a sword appeared in his hand, and he tore through the void. The void-piercing sword. It was even more like the original than the original. Even when he was chased by many monarchs last time, he had everything under control and was not nervous at all. However, this time, Fong Ping felt his powerlessness. Are you pretending? Fong Ping murmured. The cat shook his head and said, I don't think so. Maybe he still has a life-saving trump card, but he's probably reaching his limit. 1 battle against 12 monarchs. Even if 7 of them did not contribute, Zhang Tao would not be able to pretend anymore. He had really performed to the extreme that the cat felt. Fong Ping's expression became solemn again. Could he win? Could he really win? Even if Zhang Tao single-handedly held back so many monarchs, he and Li Zhen were powerless now. Li Zhen's right hand had already been chopped off by a saber. The number 1 person in Sino Nation on the surface, the mysterious Commander Li, who was respected by tens of thousands, was like a lonely boat in the sea, swaying in the wind and rain. Golden blood splattered continuously. The golden color of the blood became dimmer and soon appeared red. He had reached his limit. If this went on, he would die here. Li Zhen, who had just stepped into the second path, could not fight 1 against 4 at all. He had overdrawn everything. Patriarch Jiang. Kill 1. Li Zhen roared. He could not hold on anymore. Zhang Tao too. If this went on, he and Zhang Tao would be defeated, and Sino Nation would be in danger. What was Zhang Tao thinking? He said he was pretending to be injured, but now he was no longer pretending to be injured. If he was not careful this time, 10 paragons would die here. Warlord's face was red, sweat pouring down like rain. If he was still sweating like rain in a desperate situation, that was also a sign of overdrawing. At this moment, he heard Li Zhen's roar and cursed for a while. What was he roaring for? Did he not want to kill? Did he really think true monarchs were easy to kill? I can't hold on anymore. 8 of them against 10 true monarchs. Among them, Shun Haoyan's side was already on the verge of collapsing after fighting 1. How could it be easy for him to fight 1 against 2? At this moment, Zhang Tao suddenly roared, 30 seconds left. Even if the true monarchs were idling, they also began to attack the books. At most 30 seconds, their defense would be broken. At that time, it would be over. No matter how the 7 true monarchs wanted to break out of the realm, they would attack them, causing great pressure. Hearing this, the warlord panicked and suddenly cursed, "Do you really think I can be bullied? Die!" A roar resounded throughout the space battlefield. The next moment, a deafening explosion was heard. The warlord was sent flying, leaving only his head. The head returned to flesh in the blink of an eye, but the tortoise shell had disappeared. The 2 true monarchs fighting him were also heavily injured. Wearing the tortoise shell, the warlord self-destructed the tortoise shell and his body, fighting to the death. As the top paragons on the combat power leaderboard, there was no reason for the other party not to be heavily injured. Among the 2, the tortoise of one of them exploded, and his head also shot toward the warlord. The warlord took the initiative and seized the initiative. The moment his body recovered, he grabbed the other's head and roared. Golden light illuminated the sky, pierced through the void, and illuminated the entire royal sea mountain. "Today, I will kill another true monarch." This roar shattered the space, and even the royal sea mountain was shaking. Boom! The head exploded, and the spirit manifestation appeared. As soon as it appeared, the warlord pounced on it like a ferocious tiger, tearing the spirit manifestation apart with his hands. Die! Rumble! Heaven and earth shook, and blood appeared in the sky again. Another true monarch had fallen. Today, a 4th true monarch had died. Yang Wang. The Maple King roared again. He pierced Zhang Tao's throat with his halberd and shouted angrily, "Bamboo King! You want to die? 7 true monarchs. You didn't even break Zhang Tao's defense. You've gone too far in pretending to be weak. Because of you, another true monarch died in battle. He was on good terms with Yang Wang, but he had died here. This made the Maple King extremely angry. The Heavenly Plant's royal court had also suffered heavy losses this time. The Purple Radish King, Earth Sunflower King, Pine King, and Yang Wang were all from the Heavenly Plant's royal court. Something big was going to happen after this battle. The Maple King was still roaring, but the warlord had already pounced on the 2nd true monarch. The 2nd injured true monarch also had a cold look in his eyes. He didn't continue to fight to the death, but instantly fled toward Ji Hong and the others. These 7 people did it on purpose. They were avoiding the battle on purpose. Damn it! The warlord wanted to fight with his life on the line. Go find them. He wasn't going to accompany them. At this time, Ji Hong and the others also seemed to be exerting their strength. The book began to crack, and it was about to fall out. Seeing this, the warlord's face was full of unwillingness. He probably wouldn't be able to kill a 2nd true monarch in time, even if the other party was seriously injured. At this time, 2 figures appeared and entered the battlefield in the blink of an eye. The 2 of them were imposing, and without saying a word, they quickly attacked the injured true monarch. "How dare you? An ant dares to attack this king." The true monarch was furious. 2 non-true monarchs actually dared to enter the true monarch battlefield. They were courting death. "It's enough to kill you." Chen Yaozu roared toward the sky. His sword was as fast as lightning, going straight for the other party's head. Zhang Weiyu's long spear appeared, and he also roared crazily, fighting with all his might. Today, he would fight to the peak and pave the path of the great Tao with the blood of a true monarch. Boom! In the blink of an eye, an explosion sounded. Chen Yaozu's long sword was broken. This was not a divine weapon, but one of his big tools. His divine weapon had long been destroyed in the previous battle. Uffed! A mouthful of blood spurted out. In the distance, Zhang Tao suddenly roared, "Fight him! If you don't die, you will definitely reach the peak. Chen Yaozu, in this life, you only have one chance. If you don't succeed, you will die. Li Jun roared angrily. Without battle merits, you can't die. Use the blood of a true monarch to advance. The two human leaders roared. Chen Yaozu also had a crazed look on his face. This was his only chance. If he didn't succeed this time, he would die. Chen Yaozu is willing to fight. Chen Yaozu roared, and with his bare fists, he suddenly charged forward. Zhang Weiyu also did not say a word. Two top-notch rank 9s surrounded this true monarch and started fighting. A true monarch powerhouse was unbeatable. However, they were also prepared to die fighting a heavily injured true monarch. If they did not die, they would reach the peak. King Feng smashed Zhang Tao's right hand with a palm and roared again. Do you all still want to see more false monarchs in the land of rebirth? Zhang Tao was fighting with his life. At this moment, he could not leave. Ji Hong and the other 6 came out, killing 2 not true monarchs instantly and surrounding the other resurrected true monarchs. This battle was a great victory. At the cost of several true monarchs' death, they defeated the strongest land of rebirth, Sino Nation. However, if these 7 people did not come out, once the 2 of them became true monarchs and killed another heavily injured true monarch, this battle would have many variables. Crack, there was a cracking sound, and Zhang Tao's book officially began to collapse. At this moment, Zhang Weiyu roared, and the divine spear stabbed into the other party's chest at extreme speed. In the blink of an eye, the spear self-destructed. The injured true monarch spat out a mouthful of blood, and his eyes were bloodshot. It was one thing to be defeated by a war monarch, but to be defeated by 2 ants, it was a fate worse than death. Die. This person's chest was injured by Zhang Weiyu's self-destructing spear, and a hole appeared in his chest. At this moment, he was infuriated, and with a palm, he smashed half of Zhang Weiyu's skull. Zhang Weiyu's skull cracked, but he did not care and charged forward again. Seeing that the other party was about to strike a second time, beside him, Chen Yaozu suddenly roared into the sky. At this moment, in the dark void, the sword gleamed like a scorching flame. Achieving Dao from a neo-martial, that's a neo-martial sword. A loud laugh echoed through the void. A long sword suddenly appeared in the dark space. The long sword exploded with a dazzling light, and a sword fell from the sky, slashing toward the true monarch. Damn it! The other party had broken through. At this moment, Chen Yaozu was the first to advance to the peak. The true monarch was about to smash Zhang Weiyu's skull, but at this moment, he had to change direction and hit the long sword with his palm. Rumble! A loud sound rang out again, and Chen Yaozu's long sword shattered again. But the other party's palm was also cut in half. Damn it! What's worse is this. At the same time, Zhang Weiyu, who only had half of his head left, laughed loudly. A long spear suddenly appeared, and the spear pierced through the other party's chest, piercing through. Outside the space battlefield, in the void, 2 phantoms suddenly appeared. One was holding a spear, and the other was holding a sword. The 2 of them fought a true monarch, and without dying after 3 moves, the Tao of the peak opened. Rumble! At the same time, Zhang Tao's book shattered. King Feng laughed loudly. Even if he broke through, so what? Even if a true monarch had just died, so what? 25 true monarchs, 12 true monarchs. All of them were half dead. How could they fight? King Wu was dying. King Hades was dying. How could they fight? This was a pleasant surprise. This time, the resurrected martial artists actually fought to the death, forcing the kings of Godland to fight to the death. Now, 12 true monarchs were trapped here. If they killed all of them in this battle, the land of rebirth would no longer be a threat. What do you think? At this moment, the war monarch who had just lost his opponent seemed to have been neglected. He suddenly appeared behind the injured true monarch, roared, and smashed his opponent's head with a punch. Chun and Zhang, the two newly ascended paragons, cooperated well, and a sword and a spear pierced through the air. Rumble! A wave of mental energy exploded, and blood rain actually condensed in the sky. Too many true monarchs had died today, a total of 5. This was also the most true monarchs had died in battle in the past 1,000 years. The Tao collapsed, and the more it condensed, the heavier it became. On this day, half of the catacombs saw the blood-red color of the southern region. It covered the sky and covered the sun. Even the energy sun was reflected in blood red. Blood sun. With the death of 5 true monarchs, the Tao continued to collapse, including Mystic Jade True Monarch, who had died a few days ago. 6 true monarchs had fallen in just a few months. At this moment, in Sky Plant City, Li Zhu stopped drinking and enjoying himself. He looked toward the south with a complicated expression. How many true monarchs had died? Even from hundreds of thousands of miles away, he could see the thick blood-red color in the south. Next to him, the Heavenly Elm Guardian also crushed his wine cup and said with a half-smile, "At least 5 true monarchs have fallen. The war has not started yet. Zhang Tao has put in a lot of effort this time." Li Zhu suddenly chuckled and shook his head slightly. He had really put in a lot of effort. Killing 1 or 2 true monarchs might not be a big price for King Wu. Killing more than 5. King Wu was probably in big trouble this time. What a pity! Li Zhu suddenly sighed. What a pity that I am not here. Today, there might be hope to kill King Wu. But that trash Feng monarch, coupled with those fellows who seemed to be united but actually divided, there might be more changes. It would be difficult to kill King Wu, the place where the true monarchs fought. Inner area. In a huge palace, several figures floated above the palace, as if they could see through the world wall and everything, including the scene in the south. An old and low voice said, "The true monarchs have fallen. The outside world is in chaos. Chaos is coming. It is just a sign of great chaos. With the blood of the true monarchs, let us welcome the arrival of chaos." 5 true monarchs had fallen one after another. On this day, there were disturbances everywhere. Some domains, including the Tsang mountain range, were in turmoil. The world wall trembled, and the energy tide erupted in advance. In the depths of the Forbidden Ocean, there seemed to be living beings stepping out of the sky and looking toward the 7 southern region. It had been peaceful for 1,000 years. Ever since the disappearance of the Demon Emperor, there had not been a day like this in the God continent. True monarchs had fallen continuously, and the rain of blood covered tens of thousands of miles. Chapter 845. Breakthrough. 7 Southern Regions. Fang Ping did not care how other powerhouses reacted. At this moment, Fang Ping's heart was finally at ease. Zhang Weiyu's skull was almost smashed to smithereens. Fang Ping's heart was in his throat. In the blink of an eye, Chen Yaozu and Zhang Weiyu broke through. Both Warlord and Fang Ping killed the second true king instantly. Fang Ping was overjoyed. After the joy, there was nervousness. Ji Hong and the rest had shattered Zhang Tao's Book of Great Tao. 24 true kings. As for the humans, even with the 2 newly promoted paragons, they only had 12 people. If they were at their peak, the humans would not be afraid to fight. But now, Zhang Tao, Li Zhen, and Warlord were all injured. This situation could not be compared to before. Fang Ping was extremely nervous. They could retreat now. In one battle, they had killed 5 true kings. The humans had won. They could retreat now. However, the catacombs had suffered such heavy losses. It would not be easy to let them leave now, would it? Fong Ping turned to look at the cat, who was still watching the show. He whispered, "Master Cat, do you think we can retreat safely?" The cat ignored him. It realized that this thief was a chatterbox. He was very annoying. Ignoring Fong Ping, the cat controlled the mirror and scanned the surroundings. It asked curiously, "Someone seemed to be looking at me just now?" "Looking at you?" Fong Ping was stunned. "Heavenly King?" The cat muttered. "Someone wants to look at me through the divine peeking mirror. I don't know who it is. It's hidden very well. It's a bit far. I can't see." Fong Ping frowned. Was there someone else in the dark? The cat was only saying that. Soon, it was no longer confused. It said, "We can still win. Win." The cat's big mouth cracked open, smiling adorably. "If that familiar person goes, we can win. He's very strong, even stronger than the fake human emperor." But Fong Ping wanted to say that the Heavenly King was entangled and might not be able to go. The cat did not wait for him to finish. It said quickly, "Even if he doesn't go, we can still win." But the cat stopped smiling. Its big face looked a little conflicted. Fong Ping looked at it. The cat's big head rested on the Jiao's body. It said with flagging interest, "There are bad humans too. The fake human emperor is also a bad person. He said he would give me cat food, but he never gave it to me. In the past, this cat was very generous and often lent divine artifacts to people, but they never returned them to me." The old cat suddenly became miserable and somewhat disappointed. It mumbled, "I borrowed it, but they didn't return it." Then they were beaten to death, and the divine tool was lost. "I don't have many divine artifacts left, so I can't lend you any more." Big Cat was disappointed. They were all bad people. He must have been stabbed to death. It used to have a lot of useful artifacts, but they were all gone now. "Many, many years ago, I had a cat palace. It was very warm, but someone borrowed it. That bad. Guy didn't return it to me. Then, I think he was stabbed to death. In the past, Big Dog lent me a stick to skewer fish, but it took it away and didn't return it to me. Now, I don't even have a stick to skewer fish with." The big dog seems to have been stabbed to death too. "A long time ago, there was a fellow who borrowed my collar and didn't return it to me. I wonder if he was also stabbed to death." Big Cat was still reminiscing about the past, but it did not have amnesia now. Fong Ping's eyeballs almost popped out when he heard that. He could not help but ask, "Master Cat, where did you get so many divine artifacts?" "It was just a cat. Even if it had a powerful owner, there was no need to give it so many divine artifacts, right? I picked them up." The old cat said matter-of-factly, "A long, long time ago, many people were fighting, and then they were all killed. I think they were all killed. When this cat woke up, I picked up a lot of divine artifacts." Fong Ping was dumbfounded. How could this work? Then Fong Ping said hurriedly, "Master Cat, are you saying that you can lend old Zhang the divine artifacts, the pseudo-human emperor? If he has the divine artifacts, will he become more powerful?" The old cat said hesitantly, "If I lend it to him and he doesn't return it to me, then he'll definitely be stabbed to death. Divine artifacts could not be lent out randomly. Once it was lent, one had to return it. However, humans were very bad. They often took it away and didn't return it. It did not have many divine artifacts now." The old cat muttered a few words and looked at the fishing rod in its hand. Should it lend the fishing rod to the pseudo-human emperor? However, if it was borrowed and he did not return it, he would not even have the divine artifact for fishing in the future. However, the pseudo-human emperor was beaten to death now, and the cat food was gone too. The old cat fell into a dilemma. Its tail flapped again, unsure if it should lend it to him. Fong Ping hurriedly smiled and said, "Master Cat, lend it to me. Don't worry, he'll definitely return it to you. If he doesn't return it to you, then won't he also be stabbed to death? He's very afraid of death. The old cat did not utter a word. Fang Ping said anxiously again, then why don't I write an IOU for him? He's very prideful. With the IOU in hand, if he doesn't return it to you, wouldn't that be embarrassing? Emperor, the old cat muttered. Written IOU? The emperor would probably return it, right? A powerhouse who walked the emperor's road would not be greedy for a cat's fishing rod. Would he? The old cat struggled for a moment and muttered, all right then, hurry up and finish the fight. After the fight, you guys have to give me cat food and build a cat palace for me. As he said that, the old cat picked up the fishing rod and began to poke forward. Zhang Tao laughed heartily. Even though he was being beaten back by them, he still laughed. Isn't that so? Everyone, although this Zhang's injuries aren't light, it doesn't mean that I'm powerless to fight. I don't need to kill a few true monarchs, but before I die, I can still injure all of you and make you lose in the upcoming king battle. I can Li Shunken battle king, and the others can. Everyone, don't forget that there are so many true kings in the catacombs. Not even 1/5 of them are here. Are there still people coming? They're all waiting to watch a good show. Is it worth it to fight with us? What's the use of defeating us now? Enter Earth and snatch the seed of rebirth. Ha ha ha, even if the seed of rebirth really appears now, I'm afraid you guys will be sacrificing yourselves for someone else. It's just a few true kings who died. It's not you guys who died. Why do you have to fight with your lives for someone else? The opportunity is ours, and so is our life. Everyone, do you really think that the 12 of us don't even have the last chance to fight back? As Zhang Tao spoke, battles broke out in other places. They were all at a disadvantage. In the 12 battlefields, without exception, all humans were at a disadvantage. No matter how weak Ji Hong and the others were, they had an absolute advantage against two newly advanced paragons. Having just entered the impasse realm, Chun and Zhang were not very familiar with the power of paragons. Their ultimate skills were not perfected either. How could they be a match for them? Zhang Tao was still calm. He fought and retreated at the same time. He said with a smile, it seems that you guys are determined to fight with your lives. Since you don't care, humans won't care either. The next moment, Zhang Tao's aura suddenly intensified. He pushed back King Hua with a punch. He glanced at the others and said calmly, at least one of you will die with me. Who should I choose? The few of them slowed down their attacks. At this moment, even if they said they didn't care, could they really not care? In the crowd, not far away, Ji Hong fought with Chen Yaozu and sighed in his heart. God continent, true king's human heart. Every man for himself. Didn't everyone hear what Zhang Tao said? They heard it. The 12 resurrected true kings fought to the last moment. Was it difficult to take away a few true kings? Not at all. At least for a top powerhouse like King Wu, if they fought to the last moment, King Feng and the others might be fine. However, the weak true kings might be killed. God Continent's 4 great courts are 4 great forces. The courts are full of hidden dangers. Even the Ji family can't lead the entire Destiny Court. The 54 true kings in the True King Hall all have their own thoughts. Even I am no exception. In times of crisis, we can still stick together. Now, it's difficult. Ji Hong's heart was filled with emotions. There were a total of 31 true king powerhouses. Were they really not as strong as the Land of Rebirth's China side? Was Myriad Demon King fighting with his life? Was Fate King fighting with his life? None of them. Both of them were extremely strong. Although Heavenly King Suppression was strong, they might not lose if they fought with their lives on the line. King Feng and King Hua, which one of them wasn't strong? Was there a need for so many true kings to surround and kill King Wu? King Feng and King Hundred Mountain teamed up and fought King Wu with their lives on the line. King Wu might not be able to take them down easily. King Hundred Mountain alone was enough to deal with Battle King. What was the result? In the end, none of the Land of Rebirth's true kings died. On their side, 5 true king powerhouses were killed. The human heart is the scariest. Ji Hong was in a daze. The Land of Rebirth was not indestructible. The scariest thing was that in order to survive, everyone in the Land of Rebirth fought with their lives on the line. At this stage of the battle, if there was a powerhouse who could command the entire God continent, even if a few true kings died, it would be enough to kill the 12 true kings in front of him. There was no such person. Not only that, but everyone had other ideas. For example, he thought it would be best to take King 100 Mountain away before King Wu died. This would be in his best interest. For example, King Feng might want King Wu to take King Hua away so that he could have one less opponent. Ji Hong sneered in his heart. This was God continent. Since the end of the Demon Emperor era and the rule of the 2 kings, God continent looked strong but was in fact in decline. Only by rebuilding God dynasty, restoring the rule of the Demon Emperor era. Even if he couldn't subdue everyone like the Demon Emperor, he had to get most of the true kings to agree. This way, the remaining true kings would have no choice but to obey. Father wants to unify God continent. I'm afraid it won't be easy. Powerhouses like Myriad Demon King, Sky Demon King, and King Chen don't even show their faces. I wonder what they are thinking. It's difficult. Ji Hong's thoughts were complicated. It was a battle that they could have won, but they had been beaten to such a state by this group of people. Previously, it was still fine when they were in danger, as everyone was fighting with all their might. Now, they were hesitating. Just as Ji Hong was letting his thoughts run wild, King Feng suddenly roared, "Everyone kill the others with all your might. Once the others are dead, Zhang Tao won't be able to kill anyone." Among the humans, many of the pinnacle powerhouses had been severely injured. For an expert like Chun Haotian, he didn't have much strength left. If they killed him, he wouldn't be able to bring a true king away. As long as these true kings fought with all their might, they wouldn't be afraid of getting injured. They could kill them and return to help. Did King Wu really think he was an emperor? After King Feng roared, he saw that some of the true kings were still hesitating. So he roared, "Do you really want King Wu to fight another battle?" Killing a few people in one go and escaping unscathed. Recovering from his injuries, he continued to fight and kill again. Hundreds of true kings will be defeated one by one. Have the true kings of God continent reached such a stage? King Feng shouted, "I don't believe it, and I won't sit and wait for death like you." King Baishan, King Hua attacked together. After saying that, King Feng took the lead and charged towards Zhang Tao with all his might. Zhang Tao didn't dare to die until the last moment. Once he died, the others would collapse. As he charged towards Zhang Tao, King Feng roared, "I will hold him back and kill the others. Quick!" This bunch of bastards, why were they still hesitating at this time? If they held King Wu back, would the others have the ability to kill the true kings? Seeing King Feng's reaction, the other true kings exchanged glances and made up their minds. King Feng was right. They couldn't let King Sheng escape unscathed. Killing 5 at once. If this went on, wouldn't God continent be massacred? Since they had already reached this stage, and King Feng and the rest were holding King Wu back, they should just kill them. At most, they would just suffer some injuries. At this moment, the remaining true kings started to fight with all their might. Shun Haotian was already heavily injured, and now he was vomiting blood. Shun Haotian's heavenly fate was condensing, showing signs of self-destruction. When Zhang Tao saw this, he sighed in his heart. The true kings of the catacombs weren't really idiots. The Maple King still had some courage at the crucial moment. If King Feng was afraid of death and didn't want to fight him with all his might, these 24 true kings would have collapsed. Feng Ji, looks like you're courting death. Zhang Tao, at a time like this, do you think I would care about your verbal threats? King Feng sneered. His halberd was as fast as lightning, sending Zhang Tao flying. Just as he was sent flying, King Hua struck out with his palm. Behind him, King Baishan pressed down with his 100 mountains. The previously domineering Zhang Tao was like a flickering candle in the wind. His flesh and blood flew everywhere, and his golden bones were exposed. Zhang Tao didn't care about this. He looked at Shun Haotian, then towards the outside of the space battlefield. Just as he was about to speak, his eyes flickered. In the space battlefield, they were already in space, and they couldn't tear through it. But at this moment, the space in front of him seemed to tremble. What? Zhang Tao was surprised. There was actually someone who could tear through deeper space in the space battlefield. While Zhang Tao was still caught by surprise, a panting sound echoed in his ears. Meow, fake human emperor, return me, or else I'll stab you to death, stab you to death. The cat was so tired that it was panting. It threatened Zhang Tao, without any deterrence. Then, a fishing rod pierced through the void, revealing a corner of it beside Zhang Tao. Zhang Tao grabbed it. At this moment, King Feng and the others were also surprised. Before they could calm down, Zhang Tao suddenly shouted, "Don't self-destruct." His shout stopped Shun Haotian from self-destructing. In the next moment, Zhang Tao suddenly laughed. So, there really is a divine artifact. As soon as he said that, the fishing rod suddenly turned into a spear. Zhang Tao stabbed out with his spear. King Hua, who was coming at him, wanted to dodge, but his mental energy suddenly trembled and stagnated. At this moment, Zhang Tao's spear pierced through his head and sent him flying. As soon as King Hua was sent flying, Zhang Tao's laughter became even louder. Interesting. Die. With another shout, the spear in Zhang Tao's hand instantly turned into a long sword. He used the void-piercing sword art again and slashed at King Feng. King Feng was slightly stunned, but he recovered in the blink of an eye and hurriedly retreated. Boom! A loud explosion rang out as Zhang Tao slashed at the King of 100 Mountains, shattering dozens of mountains in front of him. King 100 Mountains spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. Zhang Tao did not chase after him. In the blink of an eye, he broke through the void and charged at Shun Haotian. Everything happened too fast. On the other side, Shun Haotian had just heard the noise when Zhang Tao had already arrived. He swung his sword and sent 2 true kings who were surrounding Shun Haotian flying. All of you, retreat to my side. Zhang Tao shouted. He grabbed Shun Haotian and broke through the void again, killing in all directions. Wherever the long sword in his hand went, a true king would be sent flying. Almost in the blink of an eye, the 12 top human cultivators gathered together. At this moment, the true kings of the catacombs were all around them. They all looked at the long sword in Zhang Tao's hand. King Feng's face was as dark as water. What was that? It could cause a powerhouse like him to freeze his mental energy for a moment. It was very short, so short that it was almost immeasurable. But his opponent was King Wu. That short moment was enough for King Wu to have an absolute advantage. The 24 monarchs surrounded the 12 human pinnacle cultivators. At that moment, many people had a strange look in their eyes. Some of them were greedy. What kind of divine weapon was that? A true king divine weapon? It was ridiculously powerful. Zhang Tao ignored them and glanced at the human powerhouses. Shun Haotian was seriously injured and on the verge of death. Li Jun was seriously injured and on the verge of death. The warlord's aura was also weak. The Liu family's patriarch kept coughing, blood gushing out of his mouth. Everyone was injured. The new top human cultivators, Chen Yaozu and Zhang Weiyu, were also seriously injured. Being besieged by weak true kings like Ji Hong was also a huge pressure for them. It's time to retreat. Zhang Tao thought to himself. He looked at Ji Hong in the crowd out of the corner of his eye. There was a faint look in his eyes. If you don't cooperate, then don't expect me to help. If they cooperated well, then he would not mind killing a powerhouse from the catacombs like King 100 Mountain. This time, he failed to force some of the old antiques out. The plan had failed. However, the appearance of the cat was enough to make up for everything. At that moment, the humans had obtained a fruitful result. It was time to retreat. Zhang Tao looked at the powerhouses surrounding them from all directions and said faintly, "Feng Ji, do you still want to continue?" Feng Ji did not reply. Instead, he glanced at the long sword in his hand coldly and said slowly, "Land of Rebirth, an ancient divine weapon from the ancient martial era?" Zhang Tao did not have a divine weapon. He knew this very well. A divine weapon that could be of help to Zhang Tao's realm was not an ordinary top human divine weapon. However, this divine weapon was of help to him now. Moreover, it was very powerful. This made Feng Ji extremely uncomfortable. Also, how did this divine weapon appear just now? Did someone invade the space battlefield and send it over? There were powerhouses secretly watching the battle in the land of rebirth. Damn it! Life King, Myriad Demon King, these be asterisk starts. King Qian, this old fart, hasn't shown himself. None of the people from Scarlet Moon came. Feng Ji was also furious. These people were only working but not putting in any effort. Did they expect him to fight the Martial King and the rest to the end? Just as the Maple King was thinking about all these, everyone suddenly appeared outside the void battlefield and looked toward the north. There seemed to be a huge battle happening there. A true king has fallen. Feng Ji frowned immediately. Opposite him, Zhang Tao's eyebrows twitched as well before he regained his composure. Battles broke out in other areas. At this juncture, who would provoke a battle between the top humans in other areas? Li Zhu. A name appeared in Zhang Tao's mind. It's him. It must be him. He did not expect this guide and not be content with being alone this time. Instead, he asked someone to take action. The one who fell now seemed to be a human's top human. Zhang Tao's heart was not very calm. Although he was not on good terms with the 5 sacred lands, humans' top humans were limited. Currently, everyone was still united against the catacombs. One less top human would have a huge impact on humans. Chaos is coming. Zhang Tao's heart rang with this sentence. Chaos was really coming. All the demons and monsters had jumped out. This was a sign of great turmoil. It seemed like they could not wait any longer. At this moment, the space suddenly collapsed. A jade-like palm appeared in front of the 100 Mountain King. The palm looked slow, but its movement was extremely fast. The palm slapped toward the 100 Mountain King. The mountain that the 100 Mountain King used to protect himself was smashed almost instantly. The giant palm disappeared in the blink of an eye. At the same time, Zhang Tao slashed with his longsword. It instantly cut through the void and slashed toward the 100 Mountain King's head with a boom. The first thing the Maple King and the others did was to retreat at this moment. Heavenly King subduing. The Maple King growled. The look in his eyes changed drastically. The Heavenly King subduing was here. Where were the Life King and the Myriad Demon King? While he was still thinking, there was a loud explosion. The 100 Mountain King's head exploded. His mentality instantly materialized. His face was full of disbelief. Then he let out a shrill scream. Life King! Boom! A second explosion sounded. The giant palm that had disappeared before suddenly appeared again. It reached out, grabbed the 100 Mountain King's mentality in its hand, and squeezed it hard. An earth-shattering explosion sounded. The 100 Mountain King screamed shrilly, but he was still not dead. He was a top-tier true king. Even if the Heavenly King subduing and the Martial King joined forces to kill him, it would not be that easy. But at this moment, a golden hook suddenly slashed across and hooked up his remaining mental strength. The 100 Mountain King's mentality was out of control. It suddenly floated in front of Zhang Tao. Zhang Tao grinned and threw a punch. A third explosion sounded. For moves, the Heavenly King subduing and the Martial King joined forces to launch a sneak attack. Each of them attacked twice and killed the 100 Mountain King in 4 moves. Rumble! The sky changed color. This time, a large amount of blood rain fell. The expressions of the Maple King and the others who retreated to the side changed. The 100 Mountain King was killed. Life King! The Maple King also roared. Where was the Life King? Although the 100 Mountain King died in the hands of the Heavenly King subduing and the Martial King, the Heavenly King subduing appeared without a sound. This was not right. Where were the 2 great masters? He roared. The next moment, the Life King's aura weakened. His voice spread through the space as he said coldly, I can't stop the monsters from escaping. The 1,000 Demon King left. He was no match for the Heavenly King subduing and was defeated by the Heavenly King. In the void, the Heavenly King subduing's figure appeared and said indifferently, You want to continue? Enough people have died today. The Maple King was unwilling, angry, and annoyed. The 1,000 Demon King left. The Life King couldn't even stop the Heavenly King subduing. Does he really think we are fools? Damn it! The Life King definitely had some agreement with the real King Rebirth. The Maple King's face turned green. He said coldly, You will regret this. You will regret it. You have ignored the land of rebirth again, and even chose to cooperate. One day, you will regret it. With a cold snort, the Maple King flew away. He couldn't stop the Heavenly King subduing, and the land of rebirth's Martial King obtained another powerful divine weapon. Although many people were heavily injured and dying, he didn't want to fight anymore. Zhang Tao suddenly sneered. The others can leave, but you want to leave too? As soon as he said that, he flew away and fought with the Maple King in the void. The 2 disappeared in the blink of an eye. A crack appeared and then disappeared. Seeing this, the Heavenly King frowned slightly. He appeared beside Li Jun and the others and looked at the real king. At this moment, the Life King also arrived. These powerhouses gathered. Many people looked at the Life King and then at the Heavenly King subduing. Their expressions didn't change, but no one knew what they were thinking. The 100 Mountain King was dead. An origin source expert who had walked close to 8,000 meters, an expert who was ranked even higher than the Battle Kings, had died on Zhang Tao's combat power ranking. The King of 100 Mountains was ranked 18th, second only to the Maple King and higher than the Battle King. He was fine after battling King Wu for so long. Just when the land of rebirth was about to lose its strength, he died. Even Li Jun, who had taken the second path, might not be as powerful as the current King of 100 Mountains. King Huai and the others didn't die, but King Baishan died, and King Zhenwang's opponent, King Ming, actually couldn't stop King Zhenwang. If the Fate King didn't even have the ability to stop him, would he still be worthy of being the #1 expert of the Fate Royal Court? In the crowd, many true monarchs subconsciously moved away from the Fate Monarch. Fate King sensed it. He frowned slightly, but didn't say anything. In fact, he was also a little surprised. Some things really weren't arranged by him. For example, Thousand Goblin King's sudden departure. For example, he didn't say anything to Heavenly King subduing, but Heavenly King subduing directly attacked King 100 Mountain. What was Heavenly King subduing planning? 9 Heaven's Divine Emperors. Chapter 846. The tables were turned instantly. Heavenly King Zhen arrived and joined forces with Zhang Tao to kill King Baishan. The death of a peak-level true king was shocking and terrifying. If King Baishan could die, who else could? Previously, the true kings that had fallen were not too strong, and many of them still had confidence. However, at this moment, not a single one of them had the confidence to do so. King Feng escaped, but King Wu did not give up. The tables had turned. The catacombs' true kings did not retreat. They could not separate now. Once they separated, it would be even more dangerous. 6 powerhouses had died in this battle. The fox grieved for the rabbit's death, and many people's emotions fluctuated greatly. The blood rain was still dripping down, and some true monarchs didn't even have the intention to evaporate the blood rain. They allowed the blood rain to fall on their bodies and dye them red. In the crowd, Fate King frowned. He glanced at the crack in the void and said slowly, "King Wu, now that things have come to this, the Land of Rebirth did not plan this battle to start an all-out war, right?" No one answered. Fate King said calmly, "Although Heavenly King Zhen is strong, God Land will go all out if this goes on. It will start a war between the 2 worlds. King Wu, you should stop." These words were meant to compromise. In the crowd, Green Wolf King said coldly, "Are you going to end this war with King Baishan's death?" His words were full of mockery and meaning. In this battle, 6 real kings had died in the hands of the martial artists who had been revived. No, they died in the hands of their own people in Godland. Fate King glanced at him and said, "Green Wolf, don't you want to say something about Baishan's death?" "I have nothing to say." Green Wolf King was still cold, as if it had nothing to do with him. In the crowd, another true king spoke, with self-mockery. "War between the 2 worlds? Maybe I thought becoming a true king would make me immortal like a true god. Invincible. Ha ha ha. What a joke. What a great war of life and death. A war between the 2 worlds. From now on, I will return to my 1,000-flower valley." The true monarch let out a bitter laugh. He didn't even look back as he tore through the air and left. The powerful true kings were acting. The weak true kings were being schemed against. Some were seeking refuge from all sides. Some were secretly planning something else. The true kings of the divine sects and dynasties were like idiots. They fought to the death and didn't retreat. In the end, they died in battle. Even someone as powerful as King 100 Mountains died in the end after standing in the way of some people. He cultivated to the unrivaled true king realm, but he still couldn't escape death. He couldn't escape from the chessboard of all lives. He fell into the trap and didn't know anything. Myriad Flower Sect leader, someone called out in a low voice. The true king who left came from a divine sect. It wasn't appropriate for him to leave now. The Myriad Flower Sect leader, who was far away, didn't care at all. Today's battle made people's hearts turn cold. Throughout the hundreds of years of war with the Land of Rebirth, there had never been a moment more chilling than this moment. The death of the 6 experts was secondary. The death of the King of 100 Mountains was the most disappointing part. Peerless true monarch. At that moment, King Fate was not present. King Feng retreated, King Hua retreated, and all the other kings retreated. He allowed King 100 Mountain to be killed by the 2 peerless experts on the spot. How could he not be disappointed? The weak could be forgiven for retreating, but if the powerful true kings, the Green Wolf and the Bamboo King, who would care about the lives of outsiders. The myriad flower sect leader left. Among the crowd, some true kings from divine sects and dynasties watched coldly from the sidelines. They allowed King Wu and King Feng to fight in the void crack. This battle was so intense that it left everyone in despair. There were only 13 resurrected true kings. Even if there were peerless experts, could they not be defeated? 31 powerhouses, but the result was like this. King Fate glanced at the crowd from the corner of his eye. His eyes were gloomy. This battle was not the result he had expected. He had thought that he would kill a few resurrected true kings in this battle. These people would risk their lives to find an opportunity to kill King 100 Mountain in this battle, or even severely injure Ji Hong. But in the end, this battle had shattered all his fantasies. The land of rebirth didn't go according to his plan at all. King 100 Mountain was dead, but it was not the right time. With this death, even if he, King Fate, was innocent, this moment would be remembered. Next, there would be some trouble within the palace. Just as King Fate was thinking about this, the next moment, Zhang Tao and King Feng came out of the crack. King Feng's arms exploded. There was a clear fist mark on his head. As for Zhang Tao, even though he had obtained the fishing rod, he was already on the brink of exhaustion after fighting with the other kings. His chest had been pierced through, but he was still smiling. Fengji, looks like you're still lacking. King Feng said coldly, Yes, I'm lacking. I'm too soft-hearted. Some things shouldn't be like this. Zhang Tao, it's time for you to leave. If you stay any longer, I'm afraid your plan will fail. King Feng's words were meaningful and full of malice. There were some things that he had thought too simply. Perhaps he had to lie low for a while. Out of the hundreds of true kings, only 31 came today. The others were watching the show. 31 true king powerhouses. How many of them were on his side? The land of rebirth. All these years of entanglement with the land of rebirth might have been wrong. At least not now. At least not now. King Fate, King Qian, and the others were all scheming. Li Zhu might be problematic too. Scarlet Moon, and the others did not come for this battle. In the north, someone started a war. Who started it? The other true kings? King Feng sneered in his heart. His arms recovered in the blink of an eye. He took a long look at Zhang Tao and the many injured human powerhouses. He suddenly sneered. King Wu, no matter how strong you are, you can't escape the general trend. You can't escape the control of the powerhouses. You and I are both pawns. Who's more pathetic than the other? Ha ha ha. He laughed heartily. It was a little crazy and unwilling. In the blink of an eye, King Feng left and disappeared without a trace. As soon as King Feng left, the other catacombs' true kings did not say a word and slowly retreated. Zhang Tao did not give chase again. He did not have the ability to. The human powerhouses were all heavily injured, except for Heavenly King Garrison. The injuries of the powerhouses were so serious that it would not be easy to recover. It was enough to kill 6 true kings in this battle. They were all gone. The battle started quickly and ended even faster. Zhang Tao looked at Heavenly King Garrison. Heavenly King Garrison looked back at him. Zhang Tao's face was pale, but he still had a smile on his face. He said, Senior Li, I'll have to trouble you with the Mount Royal Sea defense line. Without waiting for Heavenly King Garrison to reply, Zhang Tao suddenly said in a self-deprecating manner, Maybe it doesn't matter if this defense line doesn't exist. The war between the two worlds, the war between the races. At this moment, Zhang Tao suddenly shouted, Do you really think that all living beings in this world belong to you? Do you really think that you're a true God, the master of heaven and earth? Who do you think you are? If I become an emperor, I'll kill all these demons and monsters. Fierce shouts spread thousands of miles. Heaven and earth trembled, and blood rained down. Zhang Tao's body was dyed red. He laughed loudly. Although he did not force some people out today, he had also seen through some things. If he became an emperor one day, he, Zhang Tao, would definitely kill all those who thought that they were chess players. Who was qualified to rule the world? Zhang Tao's laughter spread throughout heaven and earth. So what if he was so arrogant? What could they do to him? There were powerhouses in the neo-martial era, peerless powerhouses. If I, Zhang Tao, am not willing, who can you use as a pawn? Cowards, you deserve to be a 1,000-year-old tortoise. If you're not convinced, I'll wait for you anytime. A moment ago, Zhang Tao was incomparably domineering. The next moment, Zhang Tao cursed. At this moment, curses from the catacombs and the country were all shot out. A bunch of old turtles. I'm cursing you. So what? In the crowd, Heavenly King Zhen glanced at him. When he was almost done cursing, he said slowly, "Everyone has their own path. Why force it?" Zhang Tao glanced at him and said with a smile, "Senior, please don't laugh at me. I'm just unhappy. Can I really go and tear down their turtle shells? Can I really break the bounded domain? Into the forbidden sea, into the battlefield of kings? Can I really meet an old turtle and kill an old turtle? Can I?" "No," Zhang Tao answered his own question, and then laughed loudly again. "Don't make me become an emperor. Please don't. Once I become an emperor, I can't control it. Maybe I can." Ha ha ha. This laughter was extremely savage. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Tao waved his hand and flew toward the 7 southern territories with the injured people. At this moment, he was already close to the Nanjiang catacombs. And the Nanjiang catacombs was where Purple Cap Mountain was. The waves of laughter and curses seemed to have spread to a certain place. There was an indescribable sigh of helplessness. 7 southern territories. The cat stared at the screen for a while and sighed. The pseudo-human emperor is getting stronger and stronger. Gong Zhuanzi and the others might be unlucky. The big cat looked confused, but it knew what was going on. The pseudo-human emperor roared for a while. It looked like he was venting, but the great Tao was trembling. It was obvious that he was extremely angry. If this continued, once he really became an emperor, no one would participate in today's battle. Even if he appeared in the future, he would probably be beaten up by the pseudo-human emperor. The cat muttered for a while and asked in confusion, "The human world's martial path is dead. How did the pseudo-human emperor cultivate so strong? It doesn't make sense." Even in the past, such a realm would be a peerless overlord. Little Sword, before it fell asleep, Little Sword did not seem to be as strong as the pseudo-human emperor now. After falling asleep, did Little Sword become stronger? Not necessarily. If he really fought with the pseudo-human emperor, he might not be a match for him. "Gong Zhuanzi, you're going to be unlucky." The big cat looked to the west and suddenly gloated. Its cat face showed joy. "I can go back after I destroy your tortoise house." Having said that, it muttered again, "The pseudo-human emperor is here. Let him destroy the tortoise house." If he did, he could go back to sleep. He did not need to build a cat palace anymore. The cat was happy. Fang Ping and the others were also beaming with joy. It was over. A great victory. Although this battle seemed to contain many things, Fang Ping could even hear Zhang Tao's helplessness. But this battle was indeed a great victory. 6 true king powerhouses were killed. Hundreds of rank, 9 powerhouses were killed. In one day, the world was turned upside down. After this battle, both sides might enter a period of peace. The battle between true kings might not happen again. The catacombs had also begun to shrink their battle lines. While they were thinking, a figure broke through the air in the distance. It was extremely fast, fleeing in the direction of Mount Imperial Sea. Qi Huanyu. This invincible rank, 9 powerhouse was really too powerful. Wu Quishan and Wu Chuan also soared into the air, but their auras were weakened, showing signs of serious injuries. Li Daong and the other powerhouses who went to help later were also injured by Qi Huanyu because their qi was unstable. Invincible rank, 9. At least he was invincible below the peak. The other party did not boast. A powerhouse who could have stepped into True King was forcibly blocked at the last line. After so many years, he did not lack resources, and his golden body was honed to the extreme. Under such circumstances, those powerhouses who had stepped into True King realm might not be a match for him before they achieved True King realm. The cat also saw Qi Huanyu escaping. It blinked its big eyes and muttered, "That person took his path. He should know, right?" Fong Ping's eyes moved slightly. "You mean the one beside the big snake?" Fong Ping raised his eyebrows. "Life King? I don't know. Probably." The cat said irresponsibly. Then it looked in the direction of Mount Imperial Sea and said happily, "I'm back. Can you give me the cat food now?" As it spoke, waves of powerful qi activity filled the 7 southern territory. Shadows that pierced through heaven and earth appeared in the 7 southern territory. All living beings prostrated themselves. In the blink of an eye, these shadows rushed toward Fong Ping and the rest. As for Qi Huanyu, he immediately changed his path. In the crowd, it seemed like someone wanted to attack, but he stopped and did not do anything. The next moment, Zhang Tao and the rest landed in front of Fong Ping, and the rest, all injured and smiling. The burly warlord first turned to look at Qi Huanyu, then suddenly looked at the big cat with a strange look on his face, not saying a word. The big cat felt uncomfortable under his gaze. It said, "Little fatty, do you still want to brush my fur?" Everyone was dead silent. The warlord's expression turned ugly when he heard this. After a while, he said with a stiff expression, "I don't know you." The cat did not care. If he did not want to brush, then so be it. He turned to Zhang Tao and said, "Cat food. Oh, and the fishing rod. Return it to me." A fishing rod appeared in Zhang Tao's hand. He smiled and threw it to the cat. He said with a smile, "Thank you for your help this time, cat. When I return to Earth, I will definitely send you cat food. If I need it next time, Brother Cat, can I borrow your fishing rod again?" The cat felt uncomfortable under his gaze. It grabbed the Jiao's tail and dove slowly. A human-like smile appeared on the cat's face, and it disappeared on the spot. The next moment, a shrill cry was heard. "Save me!" The Jiao howled, but its voice disappeared in the blink of an eye. No. At this moment, the Jiao was going crazy. It had been dragged into the forbidden sea by the big cat. It did not know what it was going to do. Was it going to roast it and eat it? No. "I won this time, a big victory. I'm going to be a demon king. Don't take me away." The Jiao's howl was shrill. "Help, chef, save me. I don't want to die." The cat suddenly ran away. Zhang Tao did not seem surprised. He smiled faintly. "Interesting. This cat is very interesting. It might not be stupid." Fong Ping's expression was strange. "Minister, you mean even time can't erase it? After living for so many years, how could it be stupid? Maybe it has some special ability. It saw through something. Maybe it came out this time to do a favor." Zhang Tao said slowly. Then blood suddenly spilled out of his mouth, and his aura weakened. He said softly, "This battle has hurt my foundation. Luckily, the catacombs are not on good terms. Otherwise, I might not have been able to return." Having said that, Zhang Tao breathed heavily. "Go back. Go to the surface first. Let people enter and wipe out the Magic City catacombs." Since the rules have not been broken, then continue to follow them. Kill Magic City catacombs, martial artists above rank. 4. Leave no one alive. The Magic City catacombs are ours. This was an important place. They had to take it down. The cat did not leave. Zhang Tao knew that the cat was still in this territory. With the cat here, the Magic City catacombs must be taken down. This cat knew a lot and was extremely powerful. Since it came out this time, there was a chance for cooperation. Moreover, this cat could swim in the Forbidden Sea. Zhang Tao's eyes suddenly revealed a smile, a little playful. The Forbidden Sea had countless treasures. However, powerhouses did not dare to enter the Forbidden Sea without permission. Perhaps there would be a chance to taste more of the Forbidden Sea's treasures in the future. Zhang Tao's injuries were extremely serious. The others were not lightly injured either. At this time, Li Daong and the others returned one after another. Wu Chuan glanced at Chen Yaozu, and Zhang Weiyu, a little envious and a little helpless. He said, "We lost. We were no match for him." Zhang Tao smiled faintly. "It's okay. It's good that Qi Huanyu is not dead. He is not only a whetstone, but also a pawn. Since everyone is playing chess, let's play and play too. Life King did not kill him. Maybe there are other reasons for not killing him." As he said that, Zhang Tao suddenly looked at Fang Ping. His smile was deep and playful. "Kid, you can take a look at him. Next time, remember." At first, Fang Ping did not understand. Then, he suddenly understood. There was a strange look in his eyes. Qi Huanyu, Life King had followed his path. Then, did that not mean that Life King's path might be the same as Qi Huanyu's? Then, when he peeped into the origin of Tao, did it mean that he could also take the opportunity to discover some of Life King's flaws? Zhang Tao laughed again. He said softly, "Life King is still worth paying attention to. His own strength may not be too strong, but that's relatively speaking. If you want to kill him, I'm afraid even Heavenly King Suppression would have a hard time. Let's go back first. Leave a few people here to keep watch. We need to go back and recuperate. In a short period of time, the outer region and Mount Imperial Sea will enter a period of endless peak," Zhang Tao said. This time, at this stage, those who needed to recuperate were recuperating, those who needed to go into hibernation were hibernating. After this battle, humans, no, Sino Nation at least had a breather. The catacombs would not be so pressuring anymore. Pine King, Yang King, Ground, Sunflower King, Purple Radish King. They did not kill randomly. Or rather, this time, those who came were true king powerhouses near Mount Imperial Sea. These people all ruled over a territory in the southern region. In the end, they were all killed. Then, some things would be much easier. Maple King and the other pro-war factions were seriously injured this time. They might not appear near Mount Imperial Sea anymore. As he spoke, Zhang Tao spat out another mouthful of blood. The blood vanished before it hit the ground. Zhang Tao glanced at Shen Haotian and the others who were seriously injured. His expression was a little ugly. He exhaled softly. "This is troublesome. Let's retreat first. This time, without tens of thousands of imperishable substances, it'll be difficult to prevent our injuries from worsening." It was a casual remark, but it made many people subconsciously look at Fang Ping. Fang Ping's expression was stiff. What did he mean? "Don't look at me. I'm not." After this battle, he had also broken his fortune. Just as they were about to leave, Li Daong suddenly said, "Commander, Minister, Old Kong, he died in battle." Also, Nan Yunping, Wang Qinghai, Zheng Tao, and the others, I'm afraid they're also at the final stage. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Tao's expression changed slightly. Then he casually grabbed at the air. Below Hope City's passageway, Some powerhouses who were ready to retreat were caught in the blink of an eye. Guo Shengquan held Zheng Tao, who was seriously injured again, his expression gloomy. Half of Wang Qinghai's head was left in Xie Yifan's arms. Xie Yifan's expression was sorrowful, but she did not say a word. As for Nan Yunping, she had been sent back to the surface. She was Nan Yunyue's sister. If she was sent back, Nan Yunyue might have a chance to save her. Zhang Tao looked at them. Beside him, Li Zhen's face was pale. After a while, he sighed softly and said nothing. Warlord also glanced at Zhang Tao. After a while, he said, "This is not an injury that can be cured by imperishable substances. If we want them to live, maybe we need some special treasures, such as the rank 9 unique fruit that Fang Ping saw in the Tiananmen catacombs. These people's injuries were too serious. Imperishable substances might be able to help them recover physically, but other injuries, including the injuries of the origin path, could not be cured." Zhang Tao did not say anything. He seemed to have noticed something. In the next moment, he grabbed at the air again. A figure appeared in front of everyone, eyes closed, as if asleep. Kong Lingyuan. Everyone thought that Kong Lingyuan had died in battle. He was not dead, but at this moment, he was no different from a dead person. Zhang Tao looked in the direction of the Forbidden Sea, bowed slightly, and said, "Thank you, Brother Cat." Having said that, he did not care whether the cat knew or not. He said as he walked, Kong Lingyuan's origin path was severely damaged again and overflowed. The injury last time had just healed. This time, try to save him. It's not bad to live as a normal person. The origin path overflowed again, and the power backfired. If he did not want to be backfired, it would be best if his golden body was destroyed and he became a normal person. Fang Ping hurriedly said, "It was the same last time, Vice-Chancellor. Xianyu's origin path was useful. This time, we also obtained a true king's origin path. Let's wait and see. It's a little different. We'll talk about it when we get back." Having said that, everyone sped up and arrived at Hope City's passageway. Hope City had long disappeared. At this moment, many people were still gathered here. Zhang Tao was about to leave when he suddenly looked down. Below, in the reversed seawater, the big cat appeared again. "Cat food, don't forget." Zhang Tao laughed and invited, "Brother Cat, why don't you go to the human world?" "No, you want to trick me into becoming a fighter? I won't do it." The cat shook its head. Fang Ping was surprised. How did this cat become so smart? The cat did not care what they thought. He said, "Fake Emperor, whether we fight Gong Zhuanzi's tortoise shell or not, we'll just break it. I don't deserve to be called Emperor." Zhang Tao laughed. "Just call me Zhang Tao. Humans don't have emperors either. Everyone can become emperors. So how can there be emperors?" As for the bounded domain, Zhang Tao looked to the west and smiled faintly. "There will be opportunities. This is the first time. There will be a second time. Things don't happen more than 3 times. After 3 times, I will make my move." A faint laugh was heard, but the cat shivered. Just as he was about to dive, Zhang Tao suddenly said, "This person is like this." As he said that, he pointed at Fang Ping. The cat stopped diving, stared at Fang Ping for a while, and muttered, "Talkative. So many questions." "That's not what I meant." The cat scratched its head with its paws, its big face bitter. It said, "I don't know, I don't remember. Besides, it's not like I know everything, but everything he's using now is stolen." Yes, yes. The cat did not know how to describe it at that moment. It suddenly said, "That's right. It's nothing anyway. It seems like everything he stole is ownerless. Whatever, don't detonate your mentality anymore. If the last bit of your own imprint is detonated, you'll really die. Every time you self-detonate, you'll be obliterated a little. Every time you self-detonate, you'll lose a little of yourself. In the end, you won't be yourself anymore. After saying that, the cat ran away again. Zhang Tao gave Fang Ping a deep look and said slowly, "Don't self-detonate your mentality anymore. Self-detonation is also detonating your life origin. It will leak out bit by bit. Even if you're alive, you'll still be a zombie. Maybe you'll live to the next life, but who will know that you're Fang Ping?" Fang Ping's expression was solemn. He nodded slightly, saying nothing. Self-detonation of mentality was a great weapon to kill the enemy, but Fang Ping knew that some things hurt others, but also hurt himself. It was not a good thing to self-detonate too much. This was not the first time Zhang Tao said this. Previously, he and Nan Yunyue had said the same thing. Beside them, Warlord said softly, "Maybe we're the same?" As soon as these words came out, the few paragons from Star Town trembled slightly. In their real bodies, they lived to the next life. They did not know who they were, did not know where they came from, but it was so similar. Otherwise, who had the ability to erase the memories of the paragons? Nine Heavens Divine Emperor, that you're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.